The third plate on the table was the one that hurt Rachel Bennett most. Not the cake. Not the 7 candles burning lower with every passing minute. Not the small blue birthday crown Noah had refused to wear after asking once whether his father would be there to see it. The plate. White porcelain. Silver rim. Perfectly clean. Untouched. Waiting in front of an empty chair. Rachel stood beside the dining table in the private family room of Whitaker Palace, her hands folded lightly in front of her soft cream dress. Rain moved against the tall windows. The fire burned low. A thin line of wax slid down the side of the tallest candle and hardened before anyone sang. Across the table, Noah Bennett Whitaker sat very still. 7 years old today. Dark blonde hair neatly combed because he had asked Rachel to do it twice. Blue-gray eyes fixed not on the door anymore, but on the cake. That was new. Last year, he had watched the door. The year before that, too. At 5, he had asked every 10 minutes. Is Dad coming now? At 6, he had asked only 3 times. Tonight, he had not asked at all. That silence frightened Rachel more than his tears ever had. She picked up the knife beside the cake, then set it down again. Maybe we should wait a little longer, she said gently. Noah looked at the third plate. Not at the door. Not at her. The third plate. The clean one. The place where Alpha King Gabriel Whitaker should have Saturday. No, he said. One small word. Flat. Tired in a way children should never sound. Rachel felt something inside her pause. Not break. Not yet. Breaking was louder. This was worse. No, she asked softly. Noah shrugged with one shoulder, trying to look careless and failing because he was 7. He is protecting Miss Isabella again. Rachel's fingers tightened around the edge of the table. Only once. Then loosened. Yes, she said. The lie would have been easier. A softer answer. A mother's answer. He is busy. He will come soon. He loves you. But some lies stopped protecting children after they learned the shape of absence. Noah already knew the shape. It was a chair. A cool dinner. A birthday song sung with one voice too few. Rachel moved to his side and touched his shoulder. Her hand was warm against his small formal jacket. We can cut the cake. He nodded. No excitement. No anger. Just permission. That was another wound. Rachel lit the 7th candle again because it had gone out first. The flame trembled, caught, and stood. Make a wish, she whispered. Noah looked at the candles. For a moment, his mouth tightened. Then he blew them all out without closing his eyes. Rachel did not ask what he wished for. She was terrified he had not wished at all. The door opened behind them. Both mother and son turned. Too quickly, too hopefully, then stopped. A palace guard stood at the threshold, rain darkening the shoulders of his cloak. He bowed low, but not low enough to hide the letter in his hand. Rachel knew before he spoke. She always knew. My Luna, the guard said carefully. A message from His Majesty. Noah looked down at the cake. Rachel crossed the room and took the folded paper. Gabriel's seal was still damp. Broken at the edge, hurried. Not careless. Never careless with war. Only with home. She opened it. The words were short. Precise. Royal. Rachel, the northern safe house was attacked. Isabella is unharmed, but the threat is not contained. I must remain with her until the border is secured. Tell Noah I will make it up to him. Gabriel. Rachel read it once. Then again. Not because she expected the words to change. Because some pain required repetition before the heart believed it was real. Behind her, Noah asked quietly, Is it her again? The guard lowered his gaze. Rachel folded the letter. Slowly, neatly. She placed it beside the birthday cake, close to the third plate no one had touched. Yes, she said. Noah nodded. Not surprised. That was the moment Rachel Bennett understood the family had not broken tonight. It had been breaking for years. Tonight was only the first time her child stopped pretending the sound was not there. The letter remained beside the birthday cake like another guest no one had invited. Rachel did not move it. Not at first. She stood with one hand resting on the back of Gabriel's empty chair and the other folded against her waist, feeling the silence settle over the family room in layers. Rain against glass. Firewood shifting in the hearth. Noah's small fork touching the edge of his plate, then stopping. The guard had left as quietly as he entered. Good. There were some humiliations a child should not have to watch longer than necessary. Rachel looked at the letter again. Tell Noah I will make it up to him. The sentence should have comforted her. Once it might have. Years ago, she would have read those words and carefully built hope around them. She would have told Noah his father was brave, that kings carried burdens other men did not understand, that sometimes love had to wait because duty came first. She had said those things so often they had become part of the furniture of their home. Tonight, they sounded like dust. Noah reached for the cake knife. Rachel gently covered his hand. "Let me." He pulled back without protest. That, too, hurt. Children should protest on birthdays. They should demand bigger slices, more frosting, extra candles, impossible gifts, their father's attention. Noah only watched as she cut 2 pieces from a cake made for 3. The third slice remained whole. Rachel placed 1 piece before him. Chocolate with cream icing. His favorite. Gabriel did not know that. He used to know. When Noah was 3, Gabriel had stolen frosting from the mixing bowl and let the child smear it across his royal sleeve. Rachel had scolded them both while laughing so hard she had cried. That memory arrived uninvited. Soft. Cruel. She set her own slice down and sat across from Noah, leaving Gabriel's chair empty between them like a question no one wanted answered. Noah took a bite, chewed, swallowed, then said, "Does Miss Isabella have birthdays?" Rachel stilled. The fork in her hand hovered above the plate. "Yes," she said carefully. "Everyone does." "Does Dad go to hers?" The room grew smaller. Rachel looked at her son. 7 years old. Too young to ask like that. Old enough to already know the answer might wound him. "I do not know," she said. It was not fully true. She knew Gabriel had attended Isabella's recovery feast last spring. The court called it a diplomatic gesture. The northern houses called it reassurance. Rachel had called it nothing at all and sat beside Noah while he practiced reading under candlelight, waiting for footsteps that never came. Noah looked down at his cake. "I think he would." Rachel wanted to say no. She wanted to protect Gabriel from the small judgment in his son's voice. Habit rose in her throat. "Your father loves you. Your father is doing his best. Your father will come home." But love that always required translation eventually became a language children stopped trusting. So Rachel said nothing. Noah ate another bite, then pushed the plate away. "I'm full." He was not. Rachel knew the difference between a child finished with food and a child finished with waiting. She nodded. "All right." They cleaned the table together. Rachel did not ask a servant to come. This room had always been private. Family only, Gabriel had once said when Noah was born. No council here. No royal eyes. Just us. Just us had become 2. Noah carried his own plate to the sideboard. Rachel carried hers. Then she looked at the third plate. Still clean. Still waiting. She picked it up last. For one strange second, she almost placed it back in the cabinet untouched, as if saving the plate preserved the possibility that Gabriel might still come through the door, rain on his coat, regret in his eyes, apology ready. Instead, Rachel took the plate to the sideboard and washed it herself. Warm water. White porcelain. Silver rim. Her reflection trembled across the surface. Noah stood beside her, drying his fork with a cloth too carefully for a 7-year-old. "Mom." "Yes, sweetheart." "If he makes it up to me, do I have to be happy?" Rachel's hands stopped in the water. There were questions that changed a mother. Not loudly, not all at once, but permanently. She turned to him. Noah's face was calm in the way children looked when they were asking permission to feel something adults had made inconvenient. Rachel knelt slowly, ignoring the water dripping from her fingers onto the floor. "No," she said. His eyes searched hers. "You do not have to be happy because someone is sorry late." The words came from somewhere deeper than marriage, deeper than loyalty, deeper than fear. Noah absorbed them, then nodded. A little, not relieved, but less alone. Rachel touched his cheek. "You are allowed to feel what you feel." He leaned into her hand for 1 second before remembering he was trying to be older than 7. Then he stepped back. "I'm going to put the crown away." The blue birthday crown lay near the cake box, untouched except for the moment Rachel had placed it on his hair before he asked if Dad would see. Noah picked it up, did not wear it, did not throw it away. He carried it to the drawer beside the window and placed it inside. Carefully, like a small ceremony for a wish that had died politely. Rachel watched him and felt the room tilt. Gabriel was protecting Isabella from threats outside the northern walls. But no one was protecting Noah from learning how to fold disappointment and put it away like a paper crown. Later, after Noah slept, Rachel returned to the family room alone. The candles had burned down to stubs. The cake sat covered beneath glass. Gabriel's letter remained beside it. She picked it up. Read the last line again. Tell Noah I will make it up to him. Rachel folded the letter once, then again, then placed it in the drawer with the blue birthday crown. Not as punishment, as record. Some promises needed to be kept beside the things they had failed. She turned off the lamps one by one. At the table, Gabriel's chair stood empty. Rachel rested her hand on the back of it. For years, she had kept that chair ready. At breakfast, at birthdays, at moon festivals, at fever nights when Noah asked for him in sleep. She had guarded Gabriel's place in their home as faithfully as he guarded Isabella's place in his past. Tonight, for the first time, Rachel pushed the chair in. The sound was soft, wood against rug, almost nothing. But in the quiet family room, it felt like the first door closing. Rachel Bennett remembered the years Gabriel missed in objects. Not dates, not speeches, not the official records that made every absence sound noble. Objects. A small white blanket folded in the nursery chest, a silver medicine spoon, a pair of tiny shoes with one ribbon missing, a child's first alphabet card, bent at the corner where Noah had gripped it too tightly while waiting near the window. Each one carried a story Gabriel had promised to hear later. Later had become a country he never reached. Noah was born during a winter storm while Gabriel was 2 territories north, escorting Isabella Moore from one protected house to another after rumors of an attack spread through the border clans. Rachel had begged no one to call him. She had not needed to. 3 messengers went anyway. One returned before dawn. His Majesty cannot leave Lady Isabella exposed during transfer. Rachel had received the message between waves of pain, so strong the room blurred white at the edges. She had nodded. Because queens nodded. Because Lunis endured. Because wives of Alpha Kings were taught to understand before they were allowed to need. When Noah finally cried against her chest, red-faced and furious with life, Rachel had looked down at his dark blonde hair and whispered, "Your father will come soon." Gabriel arrived 3 days later. He held Noah with wonder. Real wonder. Rachel had seen it. That was the cruelest part of memory. It refused to make him entirely guilty. Gabriel had loved their son. He simply loved him in the spaces left after saving someone else. The first fever came when Noah was 9 months old. His small body burned through the night. Rachel sat beside the cradle with sleeves rolled, hair loose, pressing cool cloths to his forehead while the palace physician murmured instructions. Gabriel was at the northern safe house again. Isabella had received a threat sealed with black wax. Gabriel sent a letter. "Tell Rachel I trust her judgment." Trust. The word had felt like praise once. That night, it felt like abandonment dressed in respect. Rachel trusted herself too. She would have liked help. Noah's fever broke at dawn. Rachel cried only after the physician left. Quietly, into the blanket. Not because Noah had survived. Because she had survived another night proving Gabriel right. She could manage without him. So he kept letting her. The first steps came in spring. Noah stood between the nursery rug and the low table, wobbling with both arms spread wide, his face bright with terror and triumph. Rachel had called for Gabriel out of instinct before remembering he was gone. Isabella's northern property line had been challenged. Gabriel needed to settle it personally. Noah took 3 steps, fell into Rachel's arms, laughed. Rachel laughed too, then looked toward the door. Empty. She wrote the moment down that night in the baby book. Noah walked today. Below it, she almost added, "Your father was not here." Instead, she wrote, "He was very brave." At 4, Noah learned letters. He sat beside Rachel at the family table, tongue caught between his teeth, trying to shape his father's name with a charcoal pencil. G-A-B. The B was backward. Rachel kissed his hair and told him it was perfect. That evening, Gabriel's messenger arrived with another delay. Isabella's carriage had been followed. Gabriel would stay another week. Noah showed the card to the messenger anyway. "Can you give this to Dad?" The messenger looked at Rachel first. She nodded. The card left. Gabriel sent it back a month later tucked inside a box of northern candies. On the back, he had written, "Well done, son." Noah kept the candy on his shelf until it hardened. He kept the card under his pillow for 2 weeks, then stopped asking if another message had come. At 5, the moon festival lanterns lit the palace gardens. Families gathered beneath silver trees. Fathers lifted children to hang wishes on branches. Mothers laughed. Wolves sang from the hill beyond the eastern wall. Rachel brought Noah alone. He carried a small lantern shaped like a wolf cub. "Will Dad meet us there?" he asked. Rachel looked at the path, at the palace gates, at the guard approaching with a folded message in his hand. She already knew. Not tonight, she said softly. Noah stared at the lantern in his hands, then held it out to her. You hang it. Sweetheart, it is your wish. He shook his head. I don't want to waste it. Rachel had no answer for that. She hung the lantern herself. The wish inside was blank. By 6, Noah stopped running to the door when hooves entered the courtyard. That was the year Rachel began to understand the difference between disappointment and adjustment. Disappointment cried. Adjustment made room. Noah made room. He placed his schoolbooks on Gabriel's chair when the table was crowded. He stopped saving the largest strawberries for his father. He asked Martha to teach him how to tie his formal sash because Dad is usually busy. He learned the shape of a home with an absent man and adapted with the quiet intelligence of a child who should have been protected from needing it. Every time Gabriel returned, he brought gifts. Wooden soldiers, northern sweets, a carved horse, a silver-handled brush. Noah thanked him politely. Politely. That word hurt Rachel more than anger would have. Gabriel noticed, sometimes. His brow would draw together as Noah accepted the gift without throwing himself into his arms. Then Isabella would send word from another wing, or the council would call, or another threat would appear at the border, and Gabriel's confusion would become urgency for someone else. Rachel tried once. Only once. It was after Noah's 6th winter recital, when Gabriel arrived 2 hours late and found the hall empty except for servants removing chairs. He looked for you, Rachel said. Gabriel removed his gloves, rain still shining on his coat. Isabella's escort was attacked near the ridge. I understand that. Then why are you saying it like I chose to miss it? Rachel had looked at him for a long time. Because you did. Not because Isabella's danger was false. Not because duty did not exist. But because every duty that carried her name became immediate, while every promise made at home became flexible. She did not say it. Noah was asleep upstairs with his recital ribbon on the table beside him. So Rachel only said, he is learning not to expect you. Gabriel's face hardened. He is a child. He will understand when he is older. That sentence was the first stone in the wall between them. Rachel had felt it land. He will understand. As if childhood were only a waiting room for forgiving fathers. Now, on Noah's 7th birthday, Rachel stood in the dark family room with Gabriel's letter folded beside the blue paper crown and understood that the years had not passed around them. They had passed through them. Through Noah's questions. Through her excuses. Through every untouched plate and unopened door. Gabriel had spent years protecting Isabella from danger. But no one had protected his son from absence. No one had protected Rachel from becoming the parent who stayed, explained, softened, covered, forgave, and cleaned up the silence after each broken promise. She walked upstairs after midnight and opened the nursery chest. The white blanket, the medicine spoon, the tiny shoes, the alphabet card, the blank moon festival wish. She placed each object on the bed in a careful row. Not to punish him. He was not there to see. To tell herself the truth. This family had not broken in one night. It had broken in keepsakes. Small, polite, labeled with dates Gabriel would not remember. Rachel touched Noah's tiny shoe, the one with the missing ribbon, and closed her eyes. For years, she had believed that when Isabella was finally safe, Gabriel would come home fully. But some men learned to call the past helpless, so they never had to answer to the present. Down the hall, Noah slept without waiting for footsteps. That was the loudest silence in the palace. Rachel gathered the objects and returned them to the chest. All except the blank moon festival wish. She held it beneath the lamplight. Empty paper. A child had refused to waste hope on a father who did not come. Rachel folded it once, then again, and placed it beside Gabriel's letter in the drawer. The record was growing. So was the quiet inside her. Not peaceful, not yet, but clear. Rachel Bennett found Noah's drawing the morning after his birthday. It was tucked beneath the edge of his schoolbook, half hidden, as if even the paper knew it should not be seen too clearly. The family room was quiet. Too quiet for a place where a child lived. Breakfast had already been served. Toast, berries, warm milk, and the honey cakes Noah usually loved. He had eaten half of one, thanked Rachel politely, and gone to his lessons without asking whether Gabriel had sent another message. That was becoming his new habit. Politeness. Rachel hated it. Not because kindness was wrong. Because politeness was what children used when they stopped expecting closeness. She stood beside the table where the third plate had been cleared away and reached for the schoolbook. The paper slipped out first. A child's drawing. 3 figures. Rachel knew the shape of herself immediately. Brown hair, blue dress, a round face drawn with careful softness because Noah always made her cheeks into little circles. Beside her stood Noah, smaller, holding her hand. And far away, at the edge of the page, stood Gabriel. Tiny, almost an afterthought. A black cloak, a crown, no hand touching anyone. Between Gabriel and the two of them, Noah had drawn a long, empty space. No walls, no monsters, no battlefield, just space. Rachel stared at it until the room blurred. This was not anger. That would have been easier. Noah had not drawn his father crossed out. He had not scribbled over his face. He had not made him ugly or cruel. He had simply placed him where he had learned Gabriel belonged. Far away, small, present only because family drawings required him. Rachel sat slowly. The paper trembled in her hands. For years, she had believed she was protecting Noah by explaining Gabriel's absence gently. She had chosen careful words, warm tones, stories of duty and danger. She had made his father noble in every empty chair. But children did not believe words forever. They believed patterns. And Noah had drawn the pattern. The door opened softly. Martha entered with fresh linen, paused, then saw the paper. Her face changed. Not surprise. Grief. "My Luna," she whispered. Rachel did not look up. He stopped drawing him beside us. Martha crossed the room slowly and placed the linen on the sideboard. No comforting lie came. Rachel was grateful. "He is a bright boy," Martha said. Rachel let out a breath that almost became a laugh. "Yes, that is the problem." Martha stood beside her. The two women looked down at the drawing. In the silence, the palace moved around them. Servants passed in the hall. Somewhere outside, training bells rang. Life continued with the calm cruelty of houses that had watched women break privately for generations. Rachel touched the tiny crowned figure at the edge of the page. "I thought if I never spoke badly of Gabriel, Noah would feel less abandoned." Martha's mouth tightened. Sometimes silence does not remove the wound. It only leaves the child to name it alone. Rachel closed her eyes. The words hurt because they were true. Noah had named it with distance. At noon, a second message arrived from the north. Rachel recognized Gabriel's seal before the guard entered the room. This time, Noah was there. He sat near the window, reading from his history primer, lips moving softly over the words. When he saw the letter, he did not put the book down. That was the moment Rachel knew. Not the drawing, not the birthday. The day a message from his father no longer interrupted him. The guard bowed. "From His Majesty." Rachel accepted the letter. Her fingers did not shake. She broke the seal. "Rachel, the northern threat has widened. Isabella's name has been tied to the old border claims, and her safety remains politically necessary. I will return when the matter is contained. Tell Noah I expect him to continue his studies. Gabriel, not I miss him, not I am sorry, not kiss our son for me. Tell Noah I expect him to continue his studies." Rachel looked at the page for a long moment, then lowered it. Noah turned another page in his primer. "Does he say when he is coming?" His tone was even. Too even. "No," Rachel said. Noah nodded. Only nodded. Then returned to reading. Rachel felt something inside her go very still. Gabriel had not only missed birthdays and fevers and festivals. He had trained his son to receive absence like weather. Unpleasant. Expected. Beyond appeal. That evening, Rachel found Noah in his room placing the small wooden soldiers Gabriel had brought last winter into a box. Not angrily. Neatly. Soldier beside soldier. Gift beside gift. "What are you doing?" she asked from the doorway. Noah did not startle. "I need room on the shelf." "For what?" "My books." Rachel stepped inside. The shelf above his desk had always held Gabriel's gifts. Wooden soldiers. A carved horse. A northern music box that played half a song before clicking into silence. Noah lifted the carved horse and turned it once in his hands. "Do you want to keep some of them out?" Rachel asked gently. He considered, then shook his head. "I don't play with them." "You used to." "I was little." He was 7. Rachel sat on the edge of his bed. Noah placed the horse into the box. Then, after a pause, he asked, "Is Miss Isabella scared all the time?" Rachel's throat tightened. "I do not know. She must be." "Why do you say that?" Noah looked at the box. "Because Dad always goes when she is scared." The words landed softly. That made them worse. Rachel did not answer quickly enough. Noah looked up at her. Maybe I should be scared more. The room emptied of air. Rachel stood before she knew she had moved, crossed to him, and knelt so fast her knees struck the rug. No, her voice broke. Noah blinked. Rachel took his hands in hers. No, sweetheart. You do not have to become more hurt to deserve someone's love. His eyes searched hers. The child in him still wanted to believe her. The injured part had already begun collecting evidence. Rachel held his hands tighter. Your father's choices are not because you are not enough. Noah looked away. But he goes to her. Yes. And he does not come to us. Rachel closed her eyes for one breath. When she opened them, the lie was gone. No, she said softly. He is not. Noah's mouth trembled once. He bit it still. That restraint broke her more than tears would have. Rachel pulled him into her arms. For a second, he stayed stiff. Then his small body folded against hers. Quiet. Shaking. Not sobbing. Just shaking. Rachel held him and looked over his shoulder at the box of gifts from a father who had mistaken presents for presents. That night, after Noah fell asleep, Rachel returned to the family room. She carried the drawing, Gabriel's latest letter, and the blue birthday crown. She placed them on the table in front of the third chair. A record, a witness, a family breaking without noise. Then she sat in Gabriel's place. For 6 years, she had kept that chair empty for him. Tonight, she sat there and saw the room from his side. Noah's chair across from her. Her own seat to the left. The cake stand. The window. The door he had not walked through. It was a good view. That made it worse. He could have seen everything from here. The child waiting. The wife softening every absence. The home becoming quieter each year. He could have seen it. If he had sat down. Rachel rested both hands on the table. She did not cry. She had cried enough in rooms where crying changed nothing. Instead, she made the first decision that felt like protection rather than endurance. Noah would not grow up learning that love was a chair kept empty for someone who always had somewhere else to be. The next morning, Gabriel's chair would not be waiting at breakfast. Not at the head. Not beside Noah. Not clean and untouched like a shrine. Rachel would have it moved. Not thrown away. Not destroyed. Just removed from the table. A small thing. A domestic thing. The kind of thing men like Gabriel never noticed until the whole house was gone. Rachel picked up Noah's drawing and folded it carefully. She did not place it in the drawer with the other records. She put it in her pocket. This one would leave with them, if leaving became necessary. And for the first time, the thought of leaving did not feel like betrayal. It felt like a mother finally understanding the assignment. Gabriel Whitaker stood beneath the northern safe house balcony while Rachel removed his chair from the family table. He did not know that. Of course he did not. The world around Isabella Moore always sounded louder to him. Snow moved across the northern hills in thin white sheets, blurring the stone walls of the protected estate where Isabella had been staying for nearly 3 months. Guards lined the outer road. Scouts watched the pine forest. 2 banners marked the gate with the Whitaker crest, because Gabriel had ordered every threat against Isabella to be treated as a threat against the crown. Inside the warm upper room, Isabella rested beneath a pale blanket near the fire. Not asleep. Never fully asleep when she knew Gabriel was close enough to hear her call. Gabriel stood outside with Beta Aaron Cole beside him, reviewing a border report that should have held his full attention. It did not. Something had shifted in him since Rachel's last reply. Or rather, since the absence of one. The birthday letter had received no answer. Neither had the message after it. No complaint. No accusation. No small note in Rachel's careful hand saying Noah understood, or Noah missed him, or the cake had been lovely and they would celebrate properly when he returned. Nothing. Rachel always answered. That was one of the quiet facts of Gabriel's life. The sun rose. Borders shifted. Isabella needed protection. Rachel answered. Until she did not. Aaron watched him scan the same line of the report twice. My king, the beta said carefully, the eastern ridge is secured. Gabriel nodded. You have read that paragraph 4 times. Gabriel lowered the paper. The cold air moved against his face, sharp enough to irritate. What is your point? Aaron did not look away. Brave. Or foolish. Sometimes useful men were both. My point is that your mind is not on the ridge. Gabriel's expression hardened. My mind is exactly where it needs to be. A soft voice came from the doorway behind them. Is it? Isabella stood wrapped in a cream shawl, golden hair loose over one shoulder, her face pale in the winter light. She looked fragile, as she always seemed to at the precise moment attention began drifting away from her. Gabriel turned at once. "You should be inside. I was tired of walls. The threat is not fully contained." "I know." Her eyes lowered. "You remind me often." There was a sadness in her voice. Once, that sadness had pulled him like gravity. He had known Isabella before the crown, before war, before duty carved his name into something heavier. She had been the first person who made him feel chosen before he became useful to a kingdom. When danger found her years later, some old part of him had responded before wisdom could ask what it would cost. Rachel is strong, he had told himself. Rachel understands. Rachel has the palace. Rachel has Noah. Rachel has everything stable. Isabella has no one. Aaron's voice interrupted his thoughts. "The Luna has the palace," he said quietly, as if answering a sentence Gabriel had not spoken aloud. "But she does not have you." Gabriel turned slowly. The guards nearby became very interested in the snow. Isabella's hand tightened around her shawl. Gabriel's voice went cold. "Choose your next words carefully." Aaron bowed his head, then chose them anyway. "Your son turned 7 yesterday." Gabriel's jaw tightened. "I know my son's age. Do you know what he asked for?" Gabriel did not answer, because he did not know. A wooden horse, perhaps. A hunting bow too small for real use. New boots. Books. Cake. Children wanted simple things. Aaron looked at him with a pity Gabriel did not permit. He asked whether you would come. Something struck beneath Gabriel's ribs. Not deeply enough. Not yet. He covered it with command. "I sent word." "Yes." "I explained the situation. To Rachel." "She will tell him." Aaron's face changed. There it was again. That strange look men had begun giving him whenever Rachel's name came up. As if he had missed something obvious. As if everyone else had been watching a roof burn while he described the weather. "Rachel tells him many things," Aaron said. "That is not the same as you being there." Gabriel stepped closer. Snow gathered on his shoulders. "I am protecting someone whose life is under threat." "And who protects your family from your absence?" The sentence landed. Clean. Disrespectful. Impossible to ignore. Gabriel said nothing. For the first time, Isabella looked away. That was when the old justification began to sound different in his mind. Isabella has no one. But Rachel had sat at birthday tables alone. Noah had blown out candles under a ceiling his father paid for and did not stand beneath. A family could have guards, servants, food, titles, and still be undefended from the one wound no army could block. Absence. Gabriel looked toward the southern horizon. Home lay beyond miles of snow, forest, road, palace walls, and all the excuses he had built into duty. "She understands," he said. The words came out less certain than before. Aaron heard it. So did Isabella. Her voice softened. "Does she?" Gabriel turned to her. Isabella's eyes shone. For once, she did not look like a woman asking to be saved. She looked like a woman beginning to understand that being saved for too long could become theft. "I never asked you to miss his birthday," she said. Gabriel's expression hardened by instinct. "You were in danger." "Yes." She stepped down onto the balcony stone, despite the cold. "And you came. You always come." The gratitude in her voice hurt more than accusation. Because it was true. He always came when Isabella called. He always stayed when danger surrounded her. He always believed the family at home would remain preserved, like furniture beneath sheets, waiting unchanged until he returned. Aaron said nothing now. He did not need to. Gabriel dismissed him with emotion. The beta bowed and left, though not far enough to stop listening if shouting began. None did. Gabriel looked back at Isabella. "Do you want me to leave?" Her mouth parted slightly. The question was unfair. They both knew it. If she said yes, she became the noble woman releasing him. If she said no, she became the woman keeping him. For years, Gabriel had placed that burden on Rachel without seeing it. Now he had placed it on Isabella and watched her face pale beneath its weight. "I want you to know what you are choosing," Isabella said finally. He looked toward the hills again. Choosing. He hated that word. Duty sounded cleaner. Duty did not accuse. Duty did not ask why one woman's fear always outranked another woman's loneliness. A messenger climbed the balcony steps then, breathless from the lower gate. "My king." Gabriel turned too quickly. The man bowed and held out a sealed letter. "From Whitaker Palace." Rachel's seal. Gabriel took it before the messenger finished rising. His hands did not shake. He told himself they did not. The letter was not long. Gabriel, Noah received your message. He continued his studies. Rachel, that was all. No reassurance. No warmth. No mention of cake. No, he misses you. No, we understand. Only the facts he had asked her to provide. Tell Noah I expect him to continue his studies. She had done exactly that. The cold around Gabriel changed. For years, Rachel had softened everything before it reached him. His orders, his absences, his failures, even his own words. Now she had returned his sentence untouched. It looked cruel in her hand, because it had always been cruel. He stared at the letter. Isabella whispered, Gabriel? He folded it slowly. Prepare the horses, he said. Her eyes widened. You are leaving? Yes. Because of the letter? Because of the letter. Because of Aaron's question. Because Noah had turned 7 without him. Because Rachel's silence had become more frightening than anger. Because the words Rachel is strong suddenly sounded less like faith and more like an excuse men used when they had found someone willing to break quietly. Gabriel looked at the messenger. Send word to the palace. I return by dawn. The messenger bowed and ran. For a moment, relief moved through Gabriel. Immediate. Selfish. He was going home. He would walk into the family room, lift Noah into his arms, apologize to Rachel, explain that the northern threat had clouded his judgment, promise to do better, and the house would bend back into shape because Rachel had always known how to make broken things usable. Then he looked again at Rachel's letter. Noah received your message. He continued his studies. Rachel, no emotion, no plea, no bridge. Something in him understood, very faintly, that returning was not the same as being welcomed. He pushed the thought away. Kings pushed away inconvenient thoughts the way they pushed open doors. Behind him, Isabella spoke softly. Gabriel. He stopped. She held the shawl around herself with both hands. If you go home only because you are afraid of losing them, you may already be late. The words angered him, then followed him. Down the steps, past the guards, through the gate where Whitaker banners cracked in the snow wind. He mounted his horse beneath a darkening sky, Rachel's letter tucked inside his coat like a blade turned inward. At the southern road, Aaron waited with 3 riders. Gabriel did not ask how he knew. The beta only said, we ride hard. Yes. They rode. Through snow. Through night. Through miles Gabriel had crossed too many times in the wrong direction. With every hoofbeat, memory rose. Noah reaching for him as a toddler. Rachel standing beside the nursery window, pale with exhaustion and still smiling when he arrived 3 days late. The birthday crown he had never seen. The third plate he did not know had already begun teaching his son the shape of absence. At dawn, the towers of Whitaker Palace appeared through the mist. Gabriel felt hope then. Unwise. Unpaid for. But there. He rode through the gates before the first bell, dismounted in the courtyard, and strode toward the family wing with snow still melting on his coat. The family room door was closed. That was strange. Rachel usually left it open in the mornings so Noah could run in after lessons. Gabriel opened it. The room was neat. The fire unlit. The table cleared. And his chair was gone. Not empty. Gone. For one moment, Alpha King Gabriel Whitaker stood in the doorway of his own home and did not understand what absence looked like when it stopped waiting politely. Then he saw the drawer by the window slightly open. Inside lay his birthday letter, the blue paper crown, and a folded blank moon festival wish. Gabriel reached for them slowly. His hands were. Gabriel Whitaker had faced armies with less fear than the question in Rachel's voice. For how long this time? It was not shouted. That made it worse. It stood quietly in the family room between the missing chair, the birthday letter, the blue paper crown, and the son who no longer ran toward him. Gabriel looked at Noah first. A mistake, or perhaps instinct. Noah stood beside Rachel with one hand lightly gripping the side of her dress. Not hiding, not clinging, only anchored. The boy was still in his morning clothes. A small navy jacket, clean collar, dark blonde hair combed neatly. Gabriel noticed, with a delayed ache, that Noah's hair had been cut recently. He had missed that too. His son looked older than 7 this morning. No child should look older the day after his birthday. Gabriel took one step forward. Noah did not move back. He did not move forward either. That absence of response struck Gabriel harder than rejection would have. Noah, Gabriel said. His voice sounded strange in his own ears. Too formal. Too late. Noah looked up at Rachel first. asking permission with his eyes. Gabriel felt that small glance like a knife. His own son needed confirmation before answering him. Rachel nodded gently. Only then did Noah say, "Good morning, Father." Father. Not Dad. Not Papa. Not the excited cry Gabriel remembered from years ago, when small hands had reached for his coat before he had even crossed the nursery threshold. Father. A polite title for a man with blood rights and no daily proof. Gabriel's throat tightened. "Happy birthday," he said. Noah looked toward the drawer where the blue crown sat folded beside the letter. It was yesterday. The correction was not cruel. It was worse. Accurate. Gabriel looked down. Snow melted from the hem of his black coat onto the rug. He had ridden through the night as if speed could turn yesterday into today. As if arriving breathless could erase the fact that the candles were already burned, the cake already cut, the wish already made or abandoned. "I know," he said. Noah waited. Rachel waited. The room waited. Gabriel had commanded councils, negotiated borders, broken sieges, and silenced men twice his age with one glance. Now he did not know how to speak to a child holding the truth without anger. "I am sorry," Gabriel said. Noah tilted his head slightly. For missing the cake? The simplicity nearly destroyed him. Gabriel's eyes burned. "For missing the cake," he said. "And the candles. And the song. And too many things before yesterday." Rachel's face changed by the smallest degree. Not forgiveness. Attention. Noah looked at the floor. Miss Isabella was scared again. Gabriel closed his eyes for one breath. Again. There it was. The word that carried years. "Yes," he said slowly. "There was danger." Noah nodded, as if this matched the world he already knew. "Did she have cake?" Rachel's hand tightened once on his shoulder. Gabriel stared at him. "What?" "Miss Isabella," Noah said. "Did she have cake?" The question was childish. The wound was not. "I do not know," Gabriel answered. Noah thought about that, then shrugged. "She probably did." Gabriel had no defense against the smallness of it. No battlefield had prepared him for a 7-year-old calmly imagining that the woman who always received his father's presents probably received cake too. Rachel spoke then. "Noah, go finish your reading with Martha." The boy looked relieved. That hurt all three of them in different ways. "Yes, Mom." He passed Gabriel carefully. Not fearfully. Carefully. As children pass furniture they were told was expensive and breakable. Gabriel's hand moved before thought. "Noah." The boy stopped. Gabriel wanted to touch his hair. Lift him. Hold him close and feel, just once, that the years had not widened into something uncrossable. But Noah stood too far for touch that had not been earned. Gabriel let his hand fall. "May I join you later?" Noah looked at Rachel again. Gabriel did not miss it this time. Rachel did not answer for him. "Good. Painful. Good." Noah considered, then said, "If you are still here." The words were quiet. Then he left. The door closed softly behind him. Gabriel stood in the family room and understood, finally, that children did not always punish parents by crying. Sometimes they punished them by adapting. Rachel moved to the table and picked up the folded letter from the drawer. His letter, the one he had written in haste, expecting her to turn absence into tenderness for him. She placed it on the table, beside the blue paper crown, beside the blank moon festival wish. Then she reached into her pocket and unfolded Noah's drawing. Gabriel saw it and stopped breathing. Rachel and Noah stood together in the center of the page. Gabriel stood near the edge. Small, crowned, far away. No battlefield between them. No enemy. No wall. Only distance. The kind he had created one justified absence at a time. Rachel did not speak immediately. She let him look. She let the drawing do what years of her gentleness had failed to do. Make him see. Gabriel touched the edge of the paper with one finger. Did he draw this? Yes. When? This morning. His hand withdrew. The child had not drawn memory. He had drawn now. Gabriel looked at Rachel. Her soft, round face was pale with exhaustion, but there was no pleading in it. Her brown eyes were steady. The woman before him was not asking him to choose. That frightened him most. "Rachel." No, the word came gently. He stopped. "You do not get to begin with my name like it is a door you still know how to open." Silence. The sentence entered him slowly, then completely. He nodded once, because there was no royal answer to it. Rachel looked toward the empty space where his chair had once stood. "I had it moved this morning. I saw." "Do you know why?" Gabriel forced himself to answer honestly. Because I was not using it. Her mouth trembled slightly. Not with weakness. With the effort of remaining calm in front of the man who had taught calmness to become armor. No, she said. Because Noah was. Gabriel frowned. Rachel looked at him. He started putting books on it. School papers. Toys he no longer wanted. Things that needed a place because the person it belonged to never came home. Gabriel's jaw tightened. He turned my chair into storage, he said quietly. Rachel's eyes filled. No, Gabriel. He turned your absence into something useful. That was the blow. Not loud. Not cruel. Perfectly placed. Gabriel stepped back once, as if the floor had shifted beneath him. Rachel continued. I let him. Because I had been doing the same thing for years. His voice roughened. I did not know. I know. The two words should have comforted him. They did not. They meant she had stopped expecting better. I thought you understood, he said. The old defense. Weak the moment it left his mouth. Rachel looked at him sadly. I did understand. His heart clenched. I understood Isabella was threatened. I understood the northern houses were unstable. I understood why your counsel advised you to stay. I understood every reason you gave me. She placed one hand over Noah's drawing. What I did not understand was why understanding had to replace having a husband. Gabriel closed his eyes. The truth gave him no place to stand. When he opened them, Rachel was still there. Not closer. Not farther. Still. I can fix this, he said. Her face softened with something like grief. No, he shook his head. Rachel, you can change things, she corrected. You can make different choices. You can be present from this day forward if you truly mean to. But you cannot fix what Noah already learned. His breath caught. He is 7. Yes. He can heal, Rachel said. That is not the same as pretending he was not hurt. The word stopped him. Outside the family room, palace life moved in distant rhythms. Servants, guards, courtyard bells. A kingdom waiting for its Alpha King to decide which emergency deserved him next. Gabriel looked toward the door Noah had passed through. For years, emergencies had come wearing Isabella's name. At home, disaster had worn silence. He had failed to recognize it. Where's my chair? He asked. Rachel's brows drew together slightly. In the storage room. Leave it there. She studied him. He swallowed. If I sit with Noah again, I should not begin in the place I abandoned. For the first time that morning, Rachel looked surprised. Not hopeful. That would have been too generous. Only surprised. Gabriel held on to that. Not as victory. As proof he had said one thing that did not deepen the wound. I will speak to Isabella, he said. Rachel's expression closed slightly. He noticed. Good. He was learning what closure looked like before it became flight. I do not mean that as a promise to you, he said quickly. Or a performance. I mean she cannot remain the center of every danger while my family becomes the cost. Rachel looked down at the table. At the letter. The crown. The wish. The drawing. All the small evidence of a house that had been breaking politely. Do what is right, she said. The words were careful. Distant. You do not need my gratitude for it. Another lesson. Another deserved cut. Gabriel bowed his head. A king, in his own family room, standing before the wife he had made lonely and the objects that proved it. I want to see Noah read, he said. Rachel looked toward the door. He is with Martha. May I go? She considered. The old Rachel would have guided him there. Smoothed the awkwardness. Told Noah his father wanted to spend time with him. Made the first step easier for the man who had missed too many. This Rachel did not move. You may ask him, she said. Gabriel nodded. Then stopped at the door and looked back. Rachel had picked up the blue birthday crown. She held it gently, thumb brushing the folded edge. I am sorry, he said. Not enough. Too late. Still true. Rachel did not look at him. I know. He left the room with that answer following him. In the corridor, Gabriel found Martha waiting near the nursery passage like an old guard no army had trained. She looked at him once. Not warmly. Your Majesty. Martha. Her eyes moved to the family room door. She told you. Enough. No, Martha said. She showed you enough. There is more. Gabriel accepted that. Will you take me to Noah? Martha's expression hardened. No, he blinked. I will tell you where he is, she said. You will walk there yourself. And if he says no, you will not punish him with sadness. The instruction should have offended him. Instead, it steadied him. Understood. Martha pointed down the hall. East Library. Window seat. Gabriel walked. Slowly. Not because he wanted to be dramatic. Because every step toward his son felt like approaching a room he had no right to enter without knocking. At the library door, he paused, then knocked. A small voice answered after a moment. "Come in." Gabriel opened the door. Noah sat in the window seat with a book open across his knees. Morning light touched his hair. He looked up, wary and polite. Gabriel remained at the threshold, not entering fully, not claiming space. "May I sit over there?" he asked, nodding toward a chair several feet away. Noah looked at the chair, then at Gabriel, then back at his book. "All right." Gabriel sat, not beside him, not close, enough to be present. Noah read silently. Gabriel listened to the quiet. It was uncomfortable, thin, filled with everything they did not know how to say. But he stayed. 5 minutes. 10. 20. Noah turned a page. Gabriel did not interrupt. For the first time in years, he protected his son from nothing dramatic. No assassins. No border threats. No political enemies. Only from the old version of himself. The man who would have demanded warmth before earning trust. And down the hall, Rachel Bennett stood in the family room with the blue paper crown in her hands, hearing no raised voices, no forced laughter, no grand apology. Only silence. A different kind this time. Not abandonment. Not yet healing. But perhaps, for the first time, a man finally sitting where he was allowed and not where he assumed he belonged. Gabriel Whitaker stayed in the East Library for 43 minutes. Noah counted. Not on purpose at first. At first, he only noticed because his father's presence changed the room. The air felt heavier. The page looked harder to read. The chair near the window, the one no one usually used, suddenly seemed too close and too far at the same time. So Noah counted the minutes between page turns. Then between breaths. Then between the moments he expected Gabriel to stand and say something had happened in the north. He did not. Gabriel sat quietly with his hands resting on his knees, still wearing the black coat he had ridden home in, snowmelt drying along the hem. His crown was absent. That was strange. Noah had seen his father without a crown before, but rarely during the day. Usually, when Gabriel came home, the crown came with him, like proof he had important reasons. Today, there was no proof. Only a man sitting badly in a chair, looking as if he did not know what to do with his own hands. Noah turned another page. He read the same paragraph 3 times. A king must learn the borders of his land before he commands those who live within them. Noah looked at Gabriel, then back at the book. "Can you not watch me?" he asked. Gabriel's face changed. Pain moved there, quickly hidden and not hidden enough. "I am sorry," he said. "I will look away." He did. Noah frowned. He had expected correction, or laughter, or a speech about respect. Gabriel only turned his gaze toward the rain-streaked window and stayed silent. That made Noah uncomfortable in a new way. Adults were easier when they did what they usually did. Leave. Explain. Promise. Forget. This quiet sitting was harder to place. Down the hall, Rachel heard nothing from the library. That was good. That was terrible. For years, she had learned to understand Gabriel through noise. Boots in corridors meant departure. Guards meant emergency. Messengers meant Isabella. Apologies meant leaving again soon. Silence had usually meant absence. This silence was different. She stood in the family room, putting away the last pieces of Noah's birthday. The cake had been covered again. The blue paper crown was still in her hand. Gabriel's chair was no longer at the table. Its absence made the room look smaller, but more honest. Martha entered with a tray of tea. Rachel glanced at her. "Is he still there?" "Yes." "With Noah?" "Yes." "Doing what?" "Sitting." Rachel closed her eyes. A.L. The East guest chamber had not been used by an Alpha King in 12 years. Gabriel Whitaker learned that from the dust. Not heavy dust. The servants were too disciplined for that. But enough. A faint gray film along the top of the wardrobe. A stiffness in the curtains. A mattress too flat from disuse. A room prepared for visiting diplomats, distant cousins, minor nobles, and men who did not belong anywhere else in the family wing. Tonight, it belonged to him. That seemed correct. He stood beside the narrow bed long after the lamps were lit, listening to the palace settle around him. Somewhere beyond the walls, guards changed posts. Servants lowered voices. Rain touched the windows. Farther down the corridor, Noah slept behind a door Gabriel had knocked on instead of entering. A small thing. A humiliating thing. A necessary thing. Gabriel removed his black coat slowly. The sleeves still smelled faintly of northern snow. Isabella's safe house. Pine smoke. Cold stone. Years of urgent departures. He folded the coat over the chair and looked at it as if it belonged to another man. Perhaps it did. That man had believed absence could be explained if the cause sounded noble enough. That man had believed Rachel's strength was permission to leave her unsupported. That man had believed gifts could stand where presence did not. Gabriel sat on the edge of the bed. The room remained quiet. No Rachel moving softly at the vanity. No Noah laughing through the wall. No family warmth leaking under the door. Only the distant shape of what he had lived beside without entering. He had come home, but home had not opened around him. For the first time, he understood that arrival was not the same as return. Morning did not forgive him. It only came. Gabriel woke before dawn, dressed without calling a servant, and walked to the family room. He stopped at the threshold. The door was open. Inside, Rachel stood at the table in a plain blue dress, setting breakfast for two. Not three. Two. Toast for Noah. Tea for herself. A bowl of berries between them. No third plate. No empty place preserved in hope. The absence of the plate struck him harder than the missing chair. He had not known how much of his family's waiting had been arranged by Rachel's hands. Now her hands arranged life without him. She looked up, not startled, not welcoming, only aware. "Good morning," she said. "Good morning." His voice felt too large for the room. Noah entered a moment later, hair still damp from washing, schoolbook under one arm. He stopped when he saw Gabriel, then looked at the table. Two places. His face relaxed. Just slightly. Gabriel saw it, and hated what it taught him. His son felt safer when no promise was set for a man who might fail to keep it. Rachel noticed too. Of course she did. She missed nothing when it came to Noah. Gabriel stepped back from the doorway. "I will eat in the East study." Noah looked up quickly. Rachel's eyes moved to Gabriel's face. He kept his hands still. No performance. No wounded pride. No making them comfort the man who had created the missing plate. "I only came to ask," he said, "whether Noah would allow me to walk him to lessons after breakfast." Noah looked at Rachel, then paused. This time, he seemed to remember he could answer for himself. "Just to the schoolroom," he said. Gabriel nodded. "Just to the schoolroom. And you cannot carry my books." A small correction. A child's boarder. Gabriel accepted it like law. "I will not carry your books." Noah looked satisfied. Rachel said nothing, but something in her shoulders eased by a fraction. Gabriel left before the moment could become a demand. In the East study, breakfast tasted like ash. He ate anyway, because hunger was ordinary. Because ordinary consequences deserved to be endured without drama. Because somewhere in the family room, his wife and son were eating without an empty chair haunting them, and that was what safety looked like today. After breakfast, Noah met him in the corridor. The boy carried his own books against his chest. Gabriel walked beside him slowly. Not too close. Not too far. Noah matched the distance without seeming to think about it. At the first turn, a guard bowed deeply. "Your Majesty." Gabriel saw Noah's shoulders stiffen. He turned to the guard. "When I am with my son, you do not announce me unless there is danger." The guard blinked. "Yes, Your Majesty." Noah glanced at him. Only once. Gabriel did not comment on it. They continued. At the schoolroom door, Noah stopped. "This is it." "I know." Noah frowned. "You have been here?" The question was simple. The answer was shameful. "Yes," Gabriel said. "When the room was built." Noah looked down. "Oh, not since." The unsaid words stood between them. Gabriel did not defend himself. "I will be in the palace today," he said. "If you want me for anything." Noah adjusted his grip on the books. "What if Miss Isabella sends another message?" Gabriel breathed in slowly. "Beta, Aaron will answer it. What if it is important? Then he will handle it unless the kingdom itself is at risk." Noah studied him. Children did not trust declarations. They trusted patterns. Gabriel knew he had none to offer yet. So he only added, "You do not have to believe me today." Noah's eyes lifted. That seemed to matter more than the promise. Then he nodded and entered the schoolroom. Gabriel stood outside the closed door for a moment before walking away. He did not know Rachel had watched from the end of the corridor. She had. Not because she distrusted every step. Because trust, once broken quietly for years, did not return through one morning. She watched Gabriel pause at the schoolroom door. Watched him leave without summoning Noah back for one more affectionate display. Watched her son look less tense when the door closed. Then she turned toward the family room. The rest of the day passed in small tests. A northern messenger arrived before noon. Gabriel sent him to Aaron unopened. A council elder asked whether Lady Isabella would still be granted palace residence once the threat passed. Gabriel answered, no. A servant asked whether His Majesty's chair should be returned to the family table. Gabriel said, ask the Luna. The servant came to Rachel. Rachel stood very still when she heard. Not because the answer was difficult. Because Gabriel had not assumed. No, she said. The chair remained in storage. At lunch, Gabriel did not come. At dinner, he sent a note. May I join you and Noah for the evening meal if Noah agrees? Rachel read it twice, then handed it to Noah. The boy sounded out the sentence carefully. If Noah agrees, he repeated. Rachel nodded. You can decide. Noah looked toward the table. 2 plates. Warm bread. Vegetable stew. No empty third place. Then back at the note. Can he sit on the stool again? Rachel's throat tightened. Yes. And if I say I want him to leave? Then he leaves. Noah thought about it. All right. Gabriel arrived at dinner without a crown. Not because crowns were shameful. Because this was not court. He waited at the door until Rachel nodded. Noah pointed to the stool. You can sit there. Gabriel sat there. No complaint. No shadow of humiliation. No attempt to make the stool seem like his choice. The meal began. Awkwardly. Rachel asked Noah about lessons. Noah answered. Gabriel listened. When Noah mentioned that early kings kept starting wars, Gabriel said, that seems to be a pattern. Noah glanced at him. Then, very quietly, smiled into his spoon. It was small, almost hidden, but Gabriel saw it. Rachel saw Gabriel see it. That was the danger. Moments like that could become hope if she was not careful. And Rachel had survived too many years on hope stretched thinner than bread. After dinner, Noah asked to show Gabriel the map he was studying. Gabriel looked to Rachel before answering. She looked to Noah. It is your map, she said. Noah led Gabriel to the side table. For 15 minutes, father and son stood over old territory lines while Rachel cleared dishes alone by habit. Then Gabriel stopped mid-sentence, looked up, and crossed the room. Leave those, he said. Rachel's body stiffened. The old command tone had almost returned. Gabriel heard it too. He corrected himself immediately. May I help? The question entered the room gently. Clumsily. Late. Rachel looked at the plate in her hand. 6 years of clearing dinners alone moved through her fingers. You may dry, she said. Gabriel took the cloth. He dried badly. Too slowly. Noah laughed once when he nearly dropped a cup. A real laugh. Quick. Surprised. Then he looked startled by his own sound. Gabriel did not seize it. Did not say I missed that. Did not ask for another. He only smiled faintly and kept drying. That restraint was almost harder for Rachel to watch than arrogance had been. Because arrogance made leaving simple. Effort made everything complicated. Later, after Noah went upstairs with Martha, Rachel and Gabriel stood alone in the family room. The table had been cleared. 2 chairs and 1 stool remained. Gabriel folded the drying cloth with unnecessary care. I will leave the family wing if you prefer, he said. Rachel looked at him. Do you want me to tell you what to do? His answer came after a pause. No good. Then decide what kind of presence is least harmful and begin there. He absorbed the sentence. Not as permission, as responsibility. I will remain in the east guest chamber, he said. I will ask before meals. I will not answer northern requests personally unless Aaron declares a crown emergency. I will meet Noah where he allows. And I will not ask for the chair. Rachel's eyes burned unexpectedly. She turned away before he saw too much. Too late. He saw, but did not move closer. That mattered. I am not promising to stay, she said. I know. I am not forgiving you. I know. I am watching. Gabriel bowed his head. Then I will give you something honest to watch. The words should have sounded like another vow. Instead, they sounded like work. Rachel could respect work. Trust was another matter. That night, Gabriel returned to the east guest chamber. He sat at the small desk and wrote 3 letters. One to Aaron, confirming Isabella's protection would continue without his personal presence. One to Isabella, stating clearly that he would no longer confuse her fear with his obligation to abandon his family. One to the council, ordering a full review of every household policy Rachel had managed alone. He sealed all 3. Then he sat in the quiet room no king wanted and listened to the palace breathe without rushing to fill the silence. In Noah's room, the boy asked Rachel while she tucked the blanket around him, Is Dad staying tomorrow? Rachel smoothed his hair. I do not know. Noah considered that. Can we not set a plate until he asks? Rachel kissed his forehead. Yes. The answer seemed to comfort him. That was what broke her heart. Not that Noah doubted Gabriel, but that control over an empty plate felt like safety. After Noah slept, Rachel returned to her own room and opened the drawer where she had placed Gabriel's letters, the blue birthday crown, the blank moon festival wish, and the drawing. She added nothing tonight. For the first time in a long while, the record did not grow. That was not healing, but it was a pause. And sometimes, in a family that had been breaking slowly for years, a pause was the first mercy that did not ask anyone to pretend the damage was gone. For 9 days, Gabriel Whitaker did not leave the palace. No northern summons pulled him away. No council demand became more urgent than breakfast. No message from Isabella more crossed the threshold of the family wing. That should have made the house feel whole. It did not. Presents, Rachel learned, could sit at the table and still not know how to belong there. Gabriel tried. That was the difficult part. He asked before joining meals. He sat on the wooden stool without complaint. He walked Noah to lessons only when invited. He listened to stories about history kings, crooked maps, spelling mistakes, and the small politics of 7-year-old friendships with the seriousness he once reserved for border treaties. Noah watched him carefully. So did Rachel. At first, the boy treated Gabriel like weather that might change suddenly. He enjoyed the warmth but kept his coat nearby. On the 3rd day, Noah allowed Gabriel to help carry one book. Only one. On the 5th day, he asked Gabriel a question about wolves in the northern forests. On the 7th, he forgot to look at Rachel before answering when Gabriel spoke. Rachel saw it. Gabriel saw it. Neither mentioned it. Some miracles died if adults named them too quickly. Yet healing did not arrive in a straight line. On the 9th afternoon, a rider came from the north. Not to summon Gabriel. To deliver news. Isabella had reached her aunt's estate safely under Aaron's escort. The border claims were being reviewed. The immediate threat was contained. The message was ordinary. Good news, even. Still, Noah was in the family room when the rider entered. The boy froze. Gabriel saw his son's hand tighten around the edge of the table. 1 second. That was all it took. 9 days of careful sitting, quiet dinners, asked permissions, and small trust could not erase 7 years of the body learning that messages meant departure. Gabriel dismissed the rider without opening the letter in front of Noah. Too late. Noah had already seen the seal. He stood from his chair. I'm going to my room. Rachel rose. Noah, I'm tired. He was not. He left before either of them could turn the moment into comfort. The door closed softly. Gabriel remained standing with the unopened northern letter in his hand. Rachel looked at it. Then at him. Open it, she said. His jaw tightened. It can wait. No, Rachel said quietly. It already entered the room. Pretending it did not will not protect him. Gabriel looked toward the door Noah had used. I do not want him to think I am leaving. He already thought it before you could decide otherwise. The truth landed without cruelty. That was Rachel's gift. And his punishment. Gabriel broke the seal, read the letter, and handed it to her. Rachel read it once. She is safe. Yes. And you are not going. No, Rachel folded the letter. Then tell him. Gabriel went still. The old part of him wanted Rachel to do it. She had always been better with Noah's heart. Better with words. Better with turning jagged truths into something a child could hold without bleeding. Rachel saw the request before he made it. Her expression closed. No, she said. Gabriel lowered his eyes. Of course. Another old habit exposed. He nodded and walked toward the stairs. Noah's door was not locked. Gabriel knocked anyway. No answer. He knocked once more. Noah, may I come in? A pause. Then, very softly, if you want. The words hurt because they were too practiced. Gabriel opened the door. Noah sat on the floor beside his bed, sorting wooden soldiers into 2 uneven lines. The gifts Gabriel had brought over years of absences. Men carved from guilt, painted in colors too bright for the room. Gabriel stayed near the doorway. Isabella is safe, he said. Noah moved one soldier into place. That's good. Yes. Another soldier. Then another. Gabriel swallowed. I am not leaving. Noah's hand paused above a blue-painted captain, then continued. Okay. Not relief. Not belief. Only acknowledgement. Gabriel sat carefully on the rug near the door, far enough not to crowd him. Noah looked up, surprised. Kings did not usually sit on nursery floors. Fathers did, perhaps. Gabriel was trying to learn the difference. I need to tell you something, Gabriel said. Noah's shoulders lifted. Not quite a flinch. Almost. Gabriel hated himself for noticing how familiar fear looked on his son. I have made you listen to many promises, he said. Most of them came before I left again. Noah stared at the soldiers. Yes. So, I am not going to promise that you will feel better soon, or that you should trust me because I say I am staying. Noah's fingers curled around the captain. Gabriel continued, voice rougher now. I am going to say only what is true today. Isabella is safe. I am in the palace. If another message comes, Beta Aaron will answer it unless the kingdom is truly at risk. And if one day I must leave for real duty, I will tell you before I go. I will not let a letter explain my absence after the chair is already empty. The room grew very quiet. Noah did not answer. Gabriel did not force him. After a long moment, the boy asked, what if you forget? The question was small. Terrible. Gabriel looked at the wooden soldiers between them. I might make mistakes, he said carefully. But forgetting you was never because you were forgettable. It was because I taught myself that home would wait no matter how long I stayed away. Noah's eyes lifted. And it didn't. Gabriel's throat tightened. No, he said. It should not have had to. Noah considered this, then pushed one wooden soldier toward him. Not the captain. A chipped one with a missing sword. Gabriel looked at it. What is this? You can fix that one. The offering was not forgiveness. It was work. Gabriel accepted it with both hands. I will. Downstairs, Rachel stood at the foot of the stairs and pressed one hand over her mouth. She had not meant to listen. That was a lie. She had meant to listen enough to know whether Noah needed her. Instead, she heard her son ask, what if you forget, and felt 7 years of explanations collapse inside her. Martha appeared beside her without sound. Rachel did not turn. He gave him a soldier, Rachel whispered. Martha nodded. A broken one. Yes. Smart boy. Rachel almost laughed through the ache. Yes. That evening, Gabriel repaired the chipped wooden soldier at the family table. Not in his study. Not with a craftsman. At the table. Noah watched. Rachel mended a sleeve near the fire. Martha moved in and out with tea she claimed no one needed, and everyone drank. Gabriel's hands were clumsy with the tiny piece of wood. He had wielded swords, signed executions, held treaties steady beneath threat. Yet fixing a toy soldier's missing sword required a kind of patience that made him sweat. Noah leaned closer. That glue is too much. Gabriel stopped. Show me. The boy did. Their heads bent near each other over the table. Rachel looked away before the sight could undo her. Not because it was false. Because it was real enough to hurt. A family could break slowly. Perhaps it could also heal slowly. But healing was not the same as returning to the old shape. The old shape had made Rachel responsible for everyone's softness except her own. She would not go back to that. Later, after Noah fell asleep with the repaired soldier on his bedside table, Gabriel found Rachel in the family room. The third plate was still absent. His chair was still in storage. The stool remained near the sideboard. He looked at it, then at her. May I sit? Rachel nodded. He sat on the stool. She remained standing. That was important. He noticed. I want to speak with Noah tomorrow, Gabriel said. About what? Isabella. Rachel's expression sharpened. Not to excuse it, he said quickly. To stop making her a shadow he has to fear every time a seal arrives. Rachel folded her arms lightly. What will you say? That I cared for her. That she was once important to me. That danger around her was real. And that none of that made it right for me to abandon him. Rachel held his gaze. No flinching. No softened lie. Good. And me? She asked. Gabriel's face changed. The question was not jealous. It was structural. Was Rachel still the invisible middle? The explainer? The woman used to make his remorse digestible for their child? You do not have to be present, he said. Unless Noah asks for you. Rachel breathed in. Slowly. That was the correct answer. Not enough to fix anything. Correct. What about us? She asked. The word surprised them both. Gabriel went very still. Rachel did not look away. She had not meant reconciliation. She had meant the space between them, the marriage neither alive nor dead, the rooms they now moved through like careful strangers joined by a child. Gabriel seemed to understand. I do not know, he said. Honest. Painful. Better than certainty. I love you, he added, voice low. Rachel closed her eyes. There it was. The old sentence. The one she had wanted for years. The one that used to make her gather every crumb of hope and call it a meal. Now it arrived in a room without his chair, after a child's drawing had placed him at the edge of the page. It did not feel useless. It did not feel enough. She opened her eyes. "I know you do," she said. His breath caught. "But love that leaves too often teaches people to live without it." Gabriel bowed his head. No argument. That, too, mattered. Rachel looked toward the stairs. "Our son gave you a broken soldier." "Yes." "Start there." He nodded. "And Gabriel?" He looked up. "If you ever use Isabella, duty, fear, or guilt to make Noah wait without truth again, I will leave with him before the next plate is set." The room became completely still. Gabriel accepted the sentence like judgment. "I know." "No," Rachel said softly. "You believe me now? That is different." His eyes lowered. She was right. For years, he had believed Rachel would understand. Now he believed she would go. The difference was not flattering. It was necessary. Rachel left him there and went upstairs. Gabriel remained on the stool long after the fire burned low. On the table lay a tiny smear of glue, a scrap of painted wood, and the memory of Noah's cautious voice. "What if you forget?" Gabriel picked up the scrap, closed his fist around it. He would forget many things in life. Treaty clauses, court gossip, the exact order of northern roads and snowfall. But not the look in his son's eyes when a messenger entered the room. Not the missing third plate. Not the chair turned into storage. Not the wife who no longer softened consequences before handing them to him. The family had not healed that night. But for the first time, Gabriel understood the work would not be dramatic enough for songs. It would be a repaired toy, a knocked door, an unopened summons, a stool instead of a throne, a father staying through the quiet after the apology. And upstairs, Rachel Bennett stood beside Noah's bed, watching her son sleep with one hand curled near the repaired soldier, and made herself a promise no crown could overrule. If Gabriel stayed, he would have to learn how to be home. If he left again the old way, there would be no third plate waiting. Not ever again. The next morning, Gabriel Whitaker told Noah the truth about Isabella Moore. Not the court version. Not the heroic version. Not the softened version Rachel had spent years shaping into something a child could survive. The truth. He waited until breakfast was finished and the table cleared. 2 plates. 1 cup of milk. 1 cup of tea. 1 empty stool near the sideboard where Gabriel had sat without asking to become permanent. Noah was tracing the repaired wooden soldier's new sword with one fingertip when Gabriel spoke. "Noah, may I talk to you for a moment?" The boy looked up, then at Rachel. Gabriel saw the glance. Accepted it. Rachel did not answer for him. Noah looked back at Gabriel. "About Miss Isabella?" "Yes." His small shoulders tightened. Gabriel wished, uselessly, that he had protected those shoulders before they learned to brace. "Do I have to listen?" The question struck the room quietly. Gabriel shook his head. No, Noah blinked. Rachel looked at Gabriel then. Really looked. He kept his voice steady. "You do not have to listen to anything from me just because I am ready to say it late." Noah thought about that, then held the soldier against his chest. "I can listen a little." A little. Gabriel sat on the stool. Not the chair. Not the head of the table. The stool. Rachel remained near the window, mending a sleeve that did not need mending anymore. Her hands moved, but her attention stayed with Noah. Gabriel began carefully. "Isabella was someone I loved before I became king." Noah's brow furrowed. "Before Mom?" "Yes." "Did you love Mom too?" The question came fast, sharp in the way children could be when they stepped directly on the place adults avoided. Gabriel looked at Rachel. She did not save him. "Good. Yes," he said. "I loved your mother. I still do." Noah looked down at the soldier. "Then why did you leave us for her?" There it was. No battlefield. No politics. No elegant language. Just the wound in its smallest, truest form. Gabriel folded his hands together so he would not reach for forgiveness that was not his to take. "Because I confused being needed with being important," he said. Noah frowned. Gabriel tried again. "When Isabella was in danger, I felt useful. I knew what to do. Send guards. Ride north. Stand between her and whoever threatened her. It made me feel like I was doing something good." "You were." "Yes," Gabriel said. "Sometimes. But I used that good thing to ignore a harder thing." "What harder thing?" "Staying." The room became very still. Rachel's needle stopped. Gabriel continued. "Staying when no one was attacking. Staying when there was only dinner. Or a birthday. Or your lessons. Or your mother needing help she would not demand. I told myself those things were safe, so they could wait. Noah's eyes lifted. But they were not safe? Gabriel's throat tightened. No, not for me leaving. Noah absorbed that slowly, then asked, was Miss Isabella bad? Rachel's eyes moved to Gabriel. This answer mattered. More than Noah knew. No, Gabriel said. Not the way stories make people bad. She was afraid. She accepted my protection. Sometimes she asked for too much. Sometimes I gave too much before she asked. But she did not make me forget your birthday. I did that. Noah's fingers tightened around the soldier. And my fever? Gabriel went cold. Rachel looked down. So he knew. Of course he knew. Children learned family history through objects, pauses, unfinished sentences, servants who went quiet too late. Yes, Gabriel said. I missed that too. And the moon festival. Yes. And when I walked. Gabriel closed his eyes. Rachel's hand pressed against the sleeve in her lap. Yes. Noah looked at the repaired soldier. His mouth trembled once. He bit it still. I don't remember walking. I know. But you missed it. Yes. Noah nodded as if placing another soldier in another line. A battle map of absence. Mom remembers, he said. Gabriel looked at Rachel. Her face was calm. Too calm. She does. Noah's voice went smaller. Mom remembers everything. The sentence broke something in the room. Not loudly. Not visibly. But Gabriel felt it. For 7 years, Rachel had carried 2 lives of memory. Hers and Noah's. She had remembered for the father who was not there, then protected the child from how much remembering cost. Gabriel bowed his head. She should not have had to remember alone. Noah leaned back in his chair. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he asked, Are you going to marry Miss Isabella? Rachel's hand stilled completely. Gabriel looked up. No, did you want to? The honesty of the question stripped him bare. Gabriel answered slowly. There were times I thought about the life I might have had before your mother. That was wrong of me when I already had a life with you both. Noah looked at Rachel. Did that hurt, Mom? Gabriel did not answer quickly enough. Rachel did. Yes. Her voice was soft. No bitterness. No performance. No shield. Noah turned toward her fully. You knew? Rachel placed the mending aside. I knew your father was confused by his past for a long time. Noah looked back at Gabriel. Were you? Yes. Are you still? Gabriel took in a breath. This was not a council interrogation. This was worse. This was a child asking whether tomorrow would be safe. No, he said. Not about Isabella. Noah studied him. About us. Gabriel felt Rachel's gaze. He could have said no. He wanted to. But truth had become the first fragile bridge between him and his son. He would not cross it with a lie. Yes, he said. I am confused about how to be here without hurting you more. But I am not confused about wanting to learn. Noah looked down again. That sounds hard. It is. Harder than fighting? Gabriel almost smiled. It died before becoming anything too easy. Yes. Noah seemed to consider this. Then placed the repaired soldier on the table between them. You can come to my lesson today, he said. Gabriel's breath caught. Noah lifted one finger. But you sit in the back. Gabriel nodded immediately. I will sit in the back. And you cannot tell Master Lee I am good at maps unless he asks. Another boundary. Another gift. I will not. And if a message comes? Gabriel looked at him directly. I will not leave the lesson unless the palace is burning. Noah frowned. What if it is only a little burning? Rachel made a small sound. Not quite a laugh. Gabriel looked at her. For the first time in too long, there was something almost warm near her eyes. He turned back to Noah. Then Marcus can handle it. Noah nodded, satisfied. The lesson was at 10. Gabriel arrived at 5 minutes before, crownless, coat plain, hands empty. Master Lee nearly dropped his chalk when the Alpha King entered, but Gabriel lifted one hand before the old tutor could turn the room into ceremony. I am only observing, Gabriel said. From the back. Noah glanced at him from the second desk. Checking. Gabriel walked to the back bench and sat. The bench was too small. His knees felt ridiculous. Good. Humility should have physical consequences. For an hour, Noah studied maps. He answered 3 questions correctly and 1 incorrectly. Gabriel did not interrupt. Did not praise too quickly. Did not correct. When Noah looked back once after finding the northern ridge on the map, Gabriel gave only the smallest nod. Noah looked away fast. But his ears turned pink. Rachel heard about it from Martha before lunch. Sat in the back, Martha said, placing folded linens into the cupboard. Rachel kept writing household accounts. I know. Did not speak. I know. Looked uncomfortable. Rachel's pen paused, then moved again. Good. Martha smiled faintly. At lunch, Noah told Rachel about the map lesson before she asked. That had not happened in months. Gabriel listened from the stool, hands folded around his cup. When Noah finished, Gabriel said, I learned that the northern ridge is farther east than I remembered. Noah looked pleased despite himself. You remembered wrong. I did. Kings should know maps. They should. Noah took a bite of bread. You can study mine later. Rachel looked down at her plate. Gabriel looked at his son as if someone had handed him a kingdom and told him not to ruin this one. I would like that. The afternoon brought another test. A council meeting. Gabriel had delayed it twice already. The elders were furious about Isabella's removal from direct royal protection and angrier still about Rachel's review of household records, which Gabriel had ordered opened that morning. At 2, Marcus came to the family wing. He bowed to Rachel first. Gabriel noticed. Rachel noticed Gabriel notice. My king, Marcus said. The council is assembled. Gabriel stood. Noah's fork paused. The old fear entered his shoulders. Rachel saw it. Gabriel saw it too. This time, he spoke before silence could teach the wrong lesson. Noah. The boy looked up. I have a council meeting. It is in the palace. I will return before dinner. If it runs late, I will send someone before the table is set. Noah watched him carefully. Before. And if you don't? Gabriel accepted the question. Then your mother will decide what the table needs. Not me. Rachel's chest tightened. Not because the words were perfect. Because they were accountable. Noah nodded slowly. Okay. Gabriel turned to Rachel. May I speak with you after council? She studied him. Yes. He left. No dramatic pause. No hand on her shoulder. No claim. At council, Elder Warren's replacement, Lord Haskins, objected to Rachel's access to household records. With respect, Your Majesty, the Luna's domestic concerns should not override governance. Gabriel looked at him. The room remembered Warren. So did Haskins, too late. Domestic concerns, Gabriel repeated. Haskins swallowed. Gabriel placed Noah's repaired wooden soldier on the table. He had carried it without realizing until he reached the hall. No, not without realizing. He wanted the reminder. My son turned my chair into storage because I treated home as a place that would wait without cost, Gabriel said. Do not speak to me of domestic concerns as if homes are not where kingdoms first learn whether power is safe. Silence. Marcus lowered his gaze. Almost smiling. Gabriel continued. The records open today. The Luna will review them if she chooses. If she does not, we will appoint women from the houses affected by these policies. Women, another elder said. Gabriel turned. Yes, they seem to understand consequences before men finish naming excuses. No one argued after that. The council ended before dinner. Gabriel returned to the family wing while the table was still unset. Noah was in the room when he arrived. He looked at the clock, then at Gabriel. You came before. I said I would. Noah did not smile, but he did not look surprised either. That, Gabriel thought, might be better. Rachel entered behind him with the dinner cloth in her hands. For a moment, the three of them stood near the table. 2 chairs, 1 stool, no third plate yet. Gabriel looked at Rachel. I wanted to ask about the household records. She placed the cloth down. I heard. I gave you authority to review them. Her expression cooled. Gabriel corrected himself. No, that is wrong. He exhaled. I recognized authority you were already carrying without protection. Rachel's face changed. A small change. Enough. And if I do not want the work, she asked, then you do not do it. If I want someone else appointed, then we appoint them. If I want to leave for a month and take Noah somewhere quiet, pain crossed his face. He did not hide it. Then I will arrange security if you ask, and stay away if you do not. Noah looked between them. Rachel did too. The answer had cost him. That mattered only because he did not use the cost against her. After a long silence, Rachel said, I will review the records. Gabriel nodded, but not as the wife who fixes what her husband ignored. No, as Luna. Yes. And as Noah's mother. Gabriel's voice lowered. Yes. Rachel looked toward the table. Set 3 plates tonight, she said. Gabriel went still. Noah looked up quickly. Rachel lifted one hand before hope could become too loud. 1 dinner. Not a promise. Gabriel bowed his head. 1 dinner. Martha, listening shamelessly from the corridor, appeared with the third plate as if she had been holding it for years and waiting to see whether anyone had earned the right to touch it. She set it down, not at the old place, not where Gabriel's chair had been, beside the stool. A new place, temporary, honest. Noah watched the plate, then looked at Gabriel. You have to wash it if you leave before dessert. Gabriel's throat tightened. I will stay through dessert. Noah considered. And wash it anyway. For the first time, Gabriel laughed without flinching afterward. Yes, he said, and wash it anyway. Dinner that night was not easy. Easy would have been insulting. There were pauses, careful words, moments when Rachel looked away because something almost tender tried to return before trust had built a place for it. But Gabriel stayed. Through soup, through bread, through Noah's story about Master Lee's crooked chalk, through dessert. Afterward, he washed the third plate himself. White porcelain, silver rim, clean now because it had been used. Rachel watched from the doorway with the blue birthday crown still tucked in the drawer behind her, the drawing folded in her pocket, and a heart that had not forgiven him but had stopped preparing to run that night. Not because the damage was gone, because for one full day, Gabriel had chosen the family waiting at home before they had to break again to be seen. And sometimes, one day honestly kept became the first stone in a bridge no one was yet ready to cross. The third plate stayed on the table for 4 nights. Not because everything was healed, because Gabriel Whitaker kept asking before he sat down. That was the difference Rachel watched most carefully. Not the apologies. Not the tired regret in his eyes when Noah forgot to look surprised that he stayed through dessert. Not the council reforms arriving one after another with Gabriel's seal and, for the first time, her review before approval. The asking, may I join you? May I walk him to lessons? May I read the next page? May I dry the plates? Small questions, late questions, necessary questions. For 7 years, Gabriel had entered rooms as if love gave him ownership of space. Now he stood at thresholds with his hands still and waited for permission from the family he had once assumed would always open around him. Rachel did not reward him for it. She did not praise him. She did not soften the silence to make him feel less ashamed. That had been her old work. She had retired from it. On the 5th morning, Noah left his repaired wooden soldier on Gabriel's stool before breakfast. Gabriel entered the family room and stopped. Rachel stood near the sideboard pouring tea. She saw the soldier, saw Gabriel see it, saw Noah pretend not to watch from behind his cup of milk. The toy stood crookedly on the stool, its repaired sword slightly too thick, the glue visible where Gabriel's hands had been clumsy. Gabriel looked at Noah. Is this holding my seat? Noah's mouth twitched. For now. Rachel lowered her gaze to the teapot. For now. Children learned caution quickly. They learned hope more carefully afterward. Gabriel picked up the soldier with both hands and sat on the stool. Thank you. Noah shrugged. You fixed it badly. I did. The sword is too big. It is. It looks silly. Gabriel studied the little soldier. Then perhaps he survived something and came back different. Noah considered that, then nodded once, as if the explanation was acceptable. Rachel turned away before either of them saw her face. The morning continued. Toast, milk, tea. No grand miracle. No sudden embrace. Only a toy on a stool and a child allowing his father to sit near it. That was enough to make Rachel afraid. Not of Gabriel. Of herself. Because she could feel the old part of her waking. The part that wanted to gather small evidence and build a home before the foundation cured. The part that wanted to believe 4 dinners, 1 repaired soldier, and a few correct answers could undo years of candles burned without him. She carried that fear into the council archive later that day. The room smelled of dust, ink, and mail neglect. Stacks of household petitions covered the table. Servant complaints, widow taxes, marriage contracts, estate transfers. Domestic injury reports rewritten as private disputes. Girls' dowries absorbed by brothers. Wives denied safe travel because their husbands had not signed permission. Rachel read until her eyes ached. Then read more. Gabriel came once near noon and stopped at the door. She did not look up. May I enter? The question was correct. Still, irritation rose. Why? He paused. A worse man would have said, because I am king. An old Gabriel would have entered while deciding whether the question mattered. This Gabriel answered. To ask whether you need food. Rachel's pen stopped. Need. Such a simple word. How many years had he asked Isabella that question without being taught? How many years had Rachel answered, needs no one named. I ate breakfast, she said. It is past noon. I am working. I know. That was all he said. No command. No criticism. Only the fact. Rachel looked up then. Gabriel stood in the doorway without his crown, sleeves rolled from his own council work, a tray in his hands. Not carried by a servant. By him. Soup. Bread. Tea. A small bowl of berries. No apology attached. No performance. Only food. Her throat tightened in anger first. That surprised her. Then she understood. Sometimes care arriving late did not feel tender. It felt insulting to the years it had been absent. You know how to bring food, she said. Gabriel's face changed. He understood the question beneath the sentence. Yes. You knew before. Yes. But you did not. No, the honesty did not fix it. It did stop him from making it worse. Rachel looked back at the petitions. I do not want to thank you. I am not asking you to. She inhaled slowly, then pointed to the side table. Leave it there. He did. At the door, he paused. Rachel. Her body tensed. He heard it. Corrected himself by not stepping closer. I am taking Noah to the stables at 3. Only if he still wants to go. Martha will come with us if you prefer. Rachel looked up. Why Martha? So he has someone he trusts if he changes his mind. The answer entered her carefully. She hated that it was good. Ask Noah, she said. I will. And if he says no, then I will clean the tack room alone. Despite herself, Rachel almost smiled. Almost. Gabriel saw the almost and did not reach for it. Good. After he left, Rachel stared at the soup until the steam faded. Then ate it cold. At 3, Noah agreed to the stables. Martha went. Gabriel did not protest. The stables had once been his easiest place with Noah. Horses were simpler than birthdays. Bridals made sense. Feed schedules did not ask why fathers left. Gabriel had imagined, foolishly, that Noah might relax there. Instead, the boy stood near the smallest mare and asked, Are you going to teach me because you want to, or because Mom is watching? Martha, from a nearby stool, pretended to inspect a saddle. Gabriel rested one hand on the stall door. The question deserved a careful answer. Both, he said. Noah frowned. Gabriel continued. I want to. And I know your mother is watching because I gave her reasons to. I do not mind being watched. Noah looked at the mare. Grown-ups usually mind. Yes. Do you? Yes. Martha's eyebrow lifted. Gabriel's mouth tightened faintly. But minding does not make it unfair. Noah ran his fingers over the mare's nose. She likes apples. She does. Did you know that? No, I knew. Gabriel accepted the small correction. Then you should teach me. Noah looked up quickly. The first spark of pride crossed his face before caution hit it. About Daisy? Yes. I have been away too much. You know her better. Martha's expression softened and hardened at once, which was an old woman's way of refusing to be impressed too easily. Noah picked up an apple slice. She bites if you hold it flat wrong. Show me. The lesson lasted half an hour. Noah taught him how Daisy liked to be brushed, which stall board creaked, which stable cat stole oats, and why the smallest mare hated blue ribbons on festival days. Gabriel listened. Not like a king indulging a child. Like a student. When Daisy finally accepted an apple from his palm without showing teeth, Noah smiled. Openly. Only for a second. Gabriel held still as if sudden movement might scare it away. Martha saw. So did Rachel, standing unseen near the stable arch. She had told herself she was going there to make sure Noah was comfortable. That was true. Not the whole truth. She watched Gabriel bend slightly while Noah corrected the angle of his hand. Watched the boy speak with increasing confidence. Watched Gabriel obey instructions about a mare he owned by law and did not know by relationship. That, Rachel thought, was the whole story. Ownership was not knowledge. Presence was. When Noah laughed at Gabriel flinching from Daisy's rough nudge, Rachel's eyes burned. She stepped back before the sound could become a chain around her heart. That evening, Noah talked through dinner. About Daisy. About the stable cat. About how father almost got bitten because he held the apple like a city idiot. Gabriel accepted the insult with dignity. Rachel laughed once before she could stop herself. The room froze. Not visibly. Emotionally. Noah looked delighted. Gabriel looked at Rachel as if her laugh were something fragile he had no right to hold. She regretted it immediately, then hated that she regretted it. Joy should not have to apologize for appearing in damaged rooms. After dinner, Gabriel washed the third plate again. Noah dried it. Rachel watched them from the table. Her family looked almost ordinary from a distance. That was the most dangerous illusion of all. Later, when Noah slept, Rachel found Gabriel in the corridor outside the east guest chamber. He had been waiting, not outside her door, not blocking her path, simply standing where she could choose whether to stop. She did. What is it? He held out a folded document. The Northern Protection Order. Her expression closed. He noticed. I rewrote it, he said. Isabella will remain under guard at her aunt's estate, funded by the crown for 60 days. After that, the northern houses must assume responsibility unless a verified threat remains. No personal attendance from me. No private summons. No exceptions without council record. Rachel took the document. Read it. The language was precise. Clear. Bounded. For the first time, Isabella's fear had limits on paper. Rachel looked up. Why show me? Because my decisions around her damaged you and Noah. I will not make more of them privately. Her fingers tightened on the page. This was what she had wanted years ago. Not control. Transparency. A seat inside decisions that shaped her home. Now it arrived after she had learned how to live without expecting it. I approve of the boundaries, she said. Gabriel's shoulders eased slightly. But I am not your conscience. The ease vanished. Good. I know. Do you? He looked down. Then back at her. I am trying to know it before you have to remind me. That answer was not perfect. Perfect would have been suspicious. It was honest enough. Rachel handed the document back. Send it. He nodded. She turned to leave. Rachel. She stopped, but did not face him. I heard you laugh tonight. Her eyes closed. There it was. The dangerous softness. I did not mean to make you regret it, he said quickly. She turned then. His face held no triumph. Only grief. I only wanted to say I remember that sound. And I am sorry I made this house so quiet you had to be surprised by your own joy. The words entered her too deeply. She wished they had not. For a long time, she said nothing. Then, because she had promised herself truth even when it complicated her anger, she answered. I missed laughing here. Gabriel's eyes shone. He did not move. Did not reach. Did not turn her admission into absolution. I know, he said. No. He did not know. Not fully. But he was learning the shape of it. Rachel left him in the corridor. That night, she opened the drawer in her room again. The birthday letter. The blue crown. The blank moon festival wish. Noah's drawing. She took out the drawing and unfolded it. Gabriel stood at the edge of the page. Small. Far. Rachel looked at it for a long time. Then she took a new sheet of paper from her desk. Not to replace the drawing. Never that. History deserved to remain. She only placed the blank page beside it. A space for what came next, if anything did. Noah might draw another family one day. Or he might not. Rachel would not ask him to. But for the first time, she allowed the possibility to exist somewhere outside her fear. Down the hall, Gabriel sealed the Northern Protection Order and sent it before midnight. No ceremony. No announcement. No asking Rachel to thank him. In the East guest chamber, he sat at the small desk afterward and wrote one sentence on a separate page. I protected Isabella loudly because danger gave me purpose. I abandoned my family quietly because their pain asked me for presence, not heroism. He read it once, then folded it and placed it in his coat pocket. Not for Rachel. Not for Noah. For himself. A man who had spent years rescuing the wrong emergencies needed reminders when the house grew peaceful. Because peace, he was learning, was not emptiness. It was the place where his family had been waiting all along, breaking slowly while he called absence duty. And if he wanted to remain inside that peace now, he would have to protect it from the oldest danger it had known. Him. On the 12th morning, Noah set the third plate himself. Rachel saw it from the doorway and stopped. The family room was bright with early sunlight. Rain had finally cleared from the palace windows, leaving the glass washed clean and the gardens beyond it silver with dew. Martha had placed fresh bread on the table. Warm milk steamed in Noah's cup. Rachel's tea waited beside her chair. And there, beside Gabriel's stool, was the white porcelain plate with the silver rim. Not waiting at the old empty place. Not placed like a shrine. Set beside the stool. A chosen place. A cautious one. Noah stood with both hands behind his back, trying to look as if he had done nothing important. Rachel felt her heart move too quickly. She steadied it. Hope was not proof. A plate was not forgiveness. A child could test a door without wanting it flung open. Gabriel entered a moment later. He stopped at the threshold, exactly as he had learned to do. His eyes moved first to Rachel, then to Noah, then to the plate. The change in his face was immediate. Too much. He lowered his gaze before Noah could feel responsible for it. Good. Rachel noticed. Noah noticed too, perhaps, because his shoulders did not rise in alarm. May I join you? Gabriel asked. Noah looked at the plate, then at him. I said it. Gabriel's voice softened. I see that. It does not mean forever. I know. It means breakfast. Gabriel nodded once. Breakfast is more than I deserve. Noah frowned at that. Rachel saw the danger before Gabriel did. Children did not need to carry adult shame. Gabriel corrected himself. I mean, thank you, he said simply. Noah accepted that. Then sit. Gabriel sat on the stool. Not slowly enough to make it ceremony. Not quickly enough to make it ordinary. Somewhere in between. That was where they lived now. Between damage and repair. Breakfast began. The sound of knives against plates. Bread being torn. Martha moving near the sideboard and pretending not to watch every breath. Noah telling Rachel that Master Lee had assigned a family history essay and that he did not want to write about kings because kings were always either dead, dramatic, or wrong. Gabriel nearly smiled, then caught himself. Noah saw. You can laugh. Gabriel blinked. Noah shrugged. That was funny. Rachel looked into her tea. A smile touched her mouth before she could stop it. Gabriel laughed softly. Not at Noah. With him. The room did not break. That was new. After breakfast, Noah pushed his plate toward Gabriel. You said you wash it if you use it. I did. You used it. I did. Gabriel carried the third plate to the basin. Noah followed with his own cup. Rachel remained at the table, hands folded around her tea, watching them stand side by side. Gabriel's hands were larger, careful, almost awkward in the warm water. Noah dried slowly, inspecting each surface as if mistakes were expected but not fatal. This was what she had once imagined so easily. A father and son at a basin. A morning without apology. A home where love did not require explanation first. The image hurt because it was beautiful, and because beauty arriving late still had to answer for the years it missed. That afternoon, Noah wrote his family history essay. He sat in the East Library with 3 sheets of paper, 2 sharpened pencils, and the repaired wooden soldier placed near the ink pot for reasons he did not explain. Rachel worked at the archive table nearby, reviewing household petitions. Gabriel sat at the far end of the room, reading a border report Aaron had sent with the words "No action required" written across the top in bold ink. A small mercy from a good beta. For a while, the room held only the sound of paper. Then Noah sighed. Rachel looked up. Need help? Noah paused. Then, maybe. Gabriel remained still. He did not offer first. Rachel saw that too. Noah tapped the pencil against the page. It asked who is in my family. The air changed. Rachel set down her pen. Gabriel did not move. Noah looked at the blank line. I know the answer, he said. I just do not know how to write it. Rachel came to sit beside him. Not too close. What do you want it to say? Noah frowned. You and me. Rachel nodded. And Martha, because she is always there. From the corner, Martha made a noise that sounded suspiciously like emotion disguised as disapproval. Rachel smiled faintly. Yes. And Father. The word entered the room quietly. Gabriel's hand tightened once around his report. Noah looked toward him. Can I write Father if I am still mad? Gabriel closed his eyes for one breath. Rachel touched Noah's arm. Yes, she said. You can write the truth even if the truth has feelings inside it. Noah considered that, then looked at Gabriel. Are you mad if I say I was mad? Gabriel's voice was rough. No, what if I say you were gone a lot? Then you are writing accurately. Noah studied him. And if Master Lee reads it? Then Master Lee will learn something true about our family. Rachel looked at Gabriel. The answer cost him. He paid it without handing the bill to the child. Noah bent over the paper and began to write. My family is my mother, Rachel Bennett. She remembers everything. Martha helps us. My father is Alpha King Gabriel Whitaker. He was gone many times. He is here now. I do not know yet if he will stay, but today he washed the plate. The pencil stopped. Noah looked at the sentence. Then at Rachel. Is that too much? Rachel's eyes burned. No, she whispered. That is enough. Gabriel stood abruptly and walked to the window. Noah stiffened. Rachel lifted one hand, ready to reassure him. But Gabriel spoke first, facing the glass. I am not leaving, he said. I only need a moment. Noah watched him, then nodded and returned to the essay. Rachel looked at Gabriel's reflection in the window. His eyes were wet. He did not wipe them quickly enough to hide it. Good. Let grief belong to him for once. Not to her. Not to Noah. To the man who earned it. That evening, the palace held the first family moon meal since Noah's birthday. Not a ceremony. Rachel refused ceremony. No nobles. No council. No Isabella shadow. Only the family room, Martha at Rachel's insistence, and simple food Noah chose himself. Roasted chicken, honey carrots, brown bread, and apple pudding. 3 plates were set. 1 stool remained. Gabriel had asked if the stool should be moved closer. Noah had said, a little. A little became 2 inches. That was the measure of trust that night. 2 inches. Gabriel accepted it like a treaty signed in blood. Halfway through dinner, a royal messenger arrived at the family wing and stopped outside the open door. Gabriel saw Noah's hand freeze around his fork. Rachel saw Gabriel see it. The room waited. The messenger bowed. Your Majesty, urgent council review from Lord Haskins. Gabriel did not stand. Can it wait until after dinner? The messenger hesitated. He marked it urgent. Gabriel placed his fork down. Noah's eyes dropped to his plate. Rachel's face remained calm, but every part of her went still. Gabriel looked at the messenger. Does it involve immediate danger to life, border breach, fire, or illness? No, Your Majesty. Then it is not urgent. Tell Lord Haskins the king is at dinner with his family. The messenger bowed and left. Noah stared at his plate, then whispered, You did not even look at it. Gabriel turned to him. No, what if he is mad? Lord Haskins is often mad. Martha snorted into her cup. Rachel looked away, mouth trembling. Noah smiled. A real one. Small, but visible. Then he said, Apple pudding gets cold. Gabriel picked up his fork. So I have heard. Dinner continued. Not perfectly, but continued. Afterward, Gabriel washed all 3 plates. Noah dried 2. Rachel dried 1. No one said anything about it. No one needed to. That night, after Noah slept, Rachel and Gabriel stood in the family room alone. The 3rd plate sat clean on the sideboard. Gabriel's stool remained near the table. Not hidden. Not permanent. Present. Rachel touched the edge of the blue birthday crown, still folded in the drawer. She had opened it earlier and looked at it for a long time, then closed it again. Some records did not need to stay on the table forever, but they did not vanish because one dinner went well. Gabriel stood several feet away, hands at his sides. I read Noah's essay, he said. Rachel nodded. He allowed you? Yes. What did you think? Gabriel looked toward the stairs. I think my son writes mercy more honestly than I ever ruled. Rachel's throat tightened. He continued, he did not erase what I did. But he wrote he is here now. The sentence hung between them. Here now. Not forgiven. Not trusted forever. Not restored. Here now. For a man who had spent years elsewhere, it was more grace than he deserved. Rachel looked at him. I am going to take Noah to Briar Lake for a month. Gabriel's face went still. There it was. The test neither of them had prepared for, though both had known it would come. Rachel continued before he could speak. Not because of tonight. Not because I am leaving secretly. Because we need space where every hallway does not remember waiting. Noah needs mornings that do not measure whether you come to breakfast. I need to hear my own thoughts without the palace listening. Gabriel's hands closed once, then opened. She watched the movement. The fight inside him. The old instinct. Lock gates. Ask why. Say no. Call it protection. He did none of those things. When, he asked. In 3 days. How long? A month. Do you want guards? I want Martha. 2 drivers. No royal escort unless I ask. Pain moved across his face. He nodded. Done. Rachel exhaled slowly. She had not realized she had been holding breath. Gabriel's voice lowered. May I write to Noah? If he wants letters. And to you? Rachel looked down at the clean plate. Then back at him. 1 letter a week. No requests to return early. No guilt. 1 letter, he said. No requests. No guilt. And if you break that boundary, I will lose the right to write again. She nodded. Correct. Painful. Correct. Gabriel looked toward the window. The night beyond it was dark and clear. I want to ask you not to go. I know. I will not. The quiet after that sentence was different from all the silences before it. Not empty. Not healed. But respectful. Rachel felt it settle around her like a room with windows finally opened. Thank you, she said. Gabriel shook his head once. Do not thank me for not making a cage. She looked at him then. The words were hers in shape, though he had spoken them. Learned words. Not stolen. Learned. For the first time, Rachel wondered if he might become someone Noah could love without fear. Not today. Not soon. But someday. That possibility hurt. Hope, she was learning, did not always arrive as a warm thing. Sometimes it came as a careful agreement with consequences. 3 days later, the carriage waited at the side gate. No banners. No royal announcement. No dramatic farewell. Martha sat inside with a basket of food and an expression daring anyone to question her authority. Noah carried his repaired soldier, and the family essay folded in his pocket. Rachel wore a plain traveling dress, her Luna ring still on her hand but turned inward, hidden against her palm. Gabriel stood by the carriage door, not blocking it, holding it open. Noah looked at him. I will be back in a month. Gabriel nodded. I will be here. Noah's eyes narrowed. Where? The question was child simple. Father hard. Gabriel answered without looking away. At home. Noah studied him, then climbed into the carriage. Rachel stepped forward. Gabriel moved back, giving her room. Good. She paused beside him. You may use the family room while we are gone, she said. His breath caught. But do not move the chair back. I will not. And do not set 3 plates alone. His eyes lowered. I understand. She looked at him for one long moment, then said, softly, learn the house without us needing to hold it open for you. The words entered him like an assignment. He bowed his head. I will. Rachel climbed into the carriage. Gabriel closed the door gently. As the wheels be. For 1 month, Gabriel Whitaker learned the shape of the house without Rachel and Noah holding it open for him. It was not a romantic lesson. There were no songs in it. No dramatic declarations. No sudden forgiveness arriving through a window with morning light. Only rooms. Quiet rooms. The family room at breakfast, where he did not set plates for people who were not there. The East Library, where Noah's history book still rested on the shelf with a folded corner marking the page about foolish kings. The nursery, where the old wooden soldiers stood in their box, one space empty because Noah had taken the repaired one to Briar Lake. The stable, where Daisy bit Gabriel's sleeve on the second day because Noah was not there to correct his hand. Martha laughed for nearly a full minute. Gabriel let her. He deserved worse. Every morning, he sat on the stool in the family room and read one household petition before attending council. Not at the head of the table. Not in Rachel's chair. The stool. The place he had been allowed to begin again. Not because he was restored, but because he had finally accepted that restoration was not his to command. The first week, he learned how much food disappeared from the kitchens before reaching servant families. The second, he learned that 3 noble households had been delaying maid wages under discipline clauses. The third, he learned that 2 young wives had written to Rachel directly because their marriage contracts trapped them in homes where leaving required permission from the very men they feared. Gabriel signed corrections, released funds, removed officials, created consequences, not in Rachel's name alone, because Rachel had told him not to turn her pain into his proof of virtue. So he wrote each order plainly. This should have existed before. That sentence became the beginning of many decrees. No one praised him for it. Good. Praise had ruined too many men faster than power. Each week, he wrote 1 letter. No guilt. No request to return early. No softening language meant to pull Rachel's heart toward him before she was ready. The first letter was to Noah. Dear Noah, Daisy tried to bite me again. You were right about the apple. I am reading the household petitions at the family table. The stool is uncomfortable. That is probably fair. Master Lee says your map work is strong. He also says you argue with footnotes. I think this is useful. I hope Briar Lake has frogs. Father. He sealed it and sent it, then sat for an hour wondering if the word father would feel like pressure. Rachel's reply came 4 days later. Noah laughed about Daisy. He says frogs are faster than kings. Rachel. That was all. Gabriel read it 5 times. Not because it was warm, because it was not closed. His second letter went to Rachel. Rachel, the Western household records were worse than I expected. I removed Lord Haskins from domestic review after discovering he had dismissed 6 servant complaints without hearing testimony. I am not telling you this to earn anything. You said to learn the house. I am trying. Noah's stool remains where it was. Gabriel. Her answer came a week later. Trying is not the same as learning. Keep reading. Rachel. Martha called it mercy. Gabriel called it more than he deserved. At Briar Lake, Rachel slept for the first 3 nights like someone escaping a room she had forgotten was locked. The cottage was small, built near pine trees and clear water, with a kitchen that smelled of cedar and old stone. Noah ran along the lake shore with his repaired soldier in one pocket and muddy frogs in both hands. Martha complained loudly about children, mud, frogs, lakes, kings, and men in general. Rachel breathed. That was the first miracle. She woke without waiting for hooves, ate breakfast without measuring Gabriel's chair, watched Noah throw stones into the water, and did not have to decide whether to protect him from hope before the sun had fully risen. On the 6th day, Noah asked, "Do you think Father is really at home?" Rachel was mending a sleeve on the porch. She looked at him. "I think he said he would be." Noah frowned. "That is not the same." "No," Rachel said. "It is not." "Do you think he is?" She could have said yes. She wanted to. Instead, she gave her son the respect of uncertainty. "I think we will know when we return." Noah nodded, then threw another stone. It skipped twice. "That is fair," he said. Children should not have had to learn fairness this way. But truth, Rachel had begun to understand, could hurt without poisoning. Lies had done more damage. The month passed slowly. Then quickly, Noah wrote Gabriel twice. The first letter contained a drawing of Daisy with teeth too large and the sentence, "Do not hold apples flat." The second contained a map of Briar Lake with warning marks near frog territory. Gabriel kept both on his desk. Not hidden, not displayed for court sentiment. Kept. On the 29th day, a northern messenger arrived at Whitaker Palace. Isabella Moore's aunt had died. The estate was unstable. Isabella requested private audience with Gabriel. The letter came sealed in pale blue wax. Gabriel stood in the council chamber, holding it while the old version of himself rose like a trained wolf. "Go. She needs you. It is cruel not to. Rachel is away. Noah will not know. The family is not here to be disappointed." That was the most dangerous thought, because absence, he realized, often began in rooms where the people hurt by it were not present to object. Marcus watched him from across the table. Martha stood near the door with household ledgers in her arms. Neither spoke. Gabriel broke the seal. "Read the request," then handed it to Marcus. "Send Beta Aaron," he said. Marcus nodded once. Martha did not move. Gabriel looked at her. "And send Lady Isabella a formal reply. I will meet her in open council if her safety requires crown action. I will not meet her privately." Martha's expression remained severe, but her eyes softened by a fraction. That was practically applause. Gabriel continued, "Add that personal grief deserves support, but not secrecy." Marcus wrote it down. No one said Rachel's name. No one needed to. That evening, Gabriel wrote his weekly letter. "Rachel, Isabella requested a private audience after her aunt's death. I did not go. Aaron will handle her escort needs. If crown action is required, it will be public and recorded. I am telling you because secrecy was one of the ways I made you pay for choices I called duty. I will be at the side gate when you and Noah return tomorrow. If Noah does not want me there, send word and I will wait inside. Gabriel." Rachel received the letter at Briar Lake on the morning of departure. She read it twice, then gave it to Noah because secrets had done enough harm in their family. Noah read slowly. His lips moved over the words. "Private audience means alone?" "Yes." He said no. "Yes. Because of us." Rachel thought carefully. "Because of himself first, I hope. Because a right choice only counts if he would make it when we are not watching." Noah looked at the lake. "Do we want him at the gate?" Rachel's throat tightened. "What do you want?" Noah held the repaired soldier in both hands. "I want to see if he is there." That was not the same as wanting Gabriel. It was wanting evidence. Rachel understood. "So do I," she said. The carriage reached Whitaker Palace before sunset. No banners. No courtyard announcement. No row of servants forced into display. Only the side gate. And Gabriel, standing alone beside it. No crown. Plain black coat. Hands visible, not in front of the gate. Beside it, giving the road room. Noah leaned toward the window. Rachel felt his body go still beside her. "He is there," he whispered. "Yes." The carriage stopped. Gabriel did not open the door immediately. He waited until Martha climbed down and glared at him, which seemed to satisfy some law older than the crown. Then he opened the carriage door. Noah stepped out first. For a moment, father and son looked at each other. Gabriel bowed his head slightly. Welcome home. Noah frowned. Did you fix something else? Gabriel's mouth trembled almost into a smile. Yes. What? A few laws. Daisy's apple problem. One broken cupboard hinge. And one habit. Noah tilted his head. Which habit? Gabriel looked at Rachel then. Only briefly. Then back at Noah. The habit of going where I was asked before asking who would be hurt by my leaving. Noah considered. That is a big habit. Yes. Is it fixed? No, Gabriel said. But I know where it breaks now. Noah seemed to like that answer more than a promise. He held up the repaired soldier. He survived Briar Lake. I am glad. He got mud on him. Most soldiers do. Noah looked at Gabriel's hands. Then, carefully, he handed him the toy. Gabriel took it as if receiving a newborn animal. Can you put him in my room? Noah asked. In your room. On the shelf. Not the box. Gabriel's breath caught. The shelf. Visible. Not hidden. Not erased. A place. I can, he said. Noah nodded and ran toward Martha, already telling her that the palace smelled less like frogs. Rachel stepped down last. Gabriel moved back immediately. Not because he did not want to help. Because he remembered she had not asked. She noticed. Of course she did. You were at the gate, she said. Yes. You did not bring counsel. No, you answered Isabella publicly. Yes. And if she writes again? Recorded channels. Aaron first. Counsel if necessary. No private doors. Rachel looked toward the palace. The windows caught sunset. For years, those walls had felt like something that swallowed her. Today, they looked like a place that might have doors she could open from either side. Might. Not did. Might. Noah wants his soldier on the shelf, she said. Gabriel nodded. I will put it there. Do not make a ceremony of it. I will not. And Gabriel? He looked at her. I am glad you were at the gate. The sentence entered him too deeply. He did not move. Did not reach. Did not thank her as if she had granted absolution. He only bowed his head. I am glad I was worthy of standing there. Rachel did not correct him. That was enough for now. That night, 3 plates were set at the family table. Rachel set hers. Noah set his. Gabriel set the third. He placed it beside the stool, then looked at Noah. Is this all right? Noah inspected the distance. Move it closer. Gabriel moved it 1 inch. Noah considered. A little more. Another inch. Rachel watched silently. 2 inches had once been the measure of trust. Tonight became 3. Not a miracle. Not a full bridge. A plank. Dinner was simple. Soup. Bread. Roasted apples. Noah talked about Briar Lake for nearly 20 minutes without stopping. Frogs. Mud. A tree that looked like Martha when she was angry. Martha declared the tree innocent and Noah disrespectful. Gabriel listened, occasionally asking questions that did not steal the story. After dessert, Noah carried the repaired soldier upstairs. Gabriel followed at his request. Rachel remained below for a moment, hand resting on the back of her chair. The third plate sat used on the table. Not clean. Not waiting. Used. That difference nearly made her cry. When Gabriel returned, he stopped in the doorway. Noah asked me to read 1 page. And did you? Yes. 1 page. 1.5. He corrected me. Rachel smiled. Small. Tired. Real. Gabriel saw it. This time, he did not speak of missing her laugh. He simply let the smile exist without trying to own it. That mattered. Rachel turned toward the table. Help me clear. May I wash? You may wash. They stood together at the basin. Not touching. Not distant. Warm water between them. Plates in hand. 7 years behind them. An uncertain life ahead. Gabriel washed the third plate slowly. Rachel dried it. For a while, only the sound of water filled the room. Then Gabriel said, I do not expect everything to return to what it was. Rachel placed the dry plate on the shelf. Good. I do not want what it was. She looked at him. He swallowed. What it was made you lonely and Noah careful. I want something else if you ever choose to build near me again. Near me. Not for me. Not around me. Near. Rachel looked at the shelf where the 3 plates rested. I do not know yet, she said. I know. But I am here tonight. His eyes shone. He nodded once. Yes. And if I need to leave again, I will. Yes. And if Noah needs space from you, you give it. Yes. And if you become the man who makes us wait without truth again, I lose the table. The answer came quietly. Immediately. Rachel studied him. He understood, then. Not perfectly, but enough to know the symbol. The table was not furniture. It was trust. It was presence. It was the place where Noah had learned absence and might one day learn steadiness. Rachel picked up the cloth and folded it. "Tomorrow morning," she said, "Noah will decide how many plates." Gabriel bowed his head. "Tomorrow morning, Noah decides." The next morning, Noah came downstairs carrying his history book and the repaired soldier tucked under one arm. He found Rachel by the window, Gabriel at the threshold, Martha near the sideboard, pretending not to supervise the fate of the kingdom through breakfast dishes. The table was bare. Noah looked at it, then at Gabriel, then at Rachel. "How many plates?" Rachel asked gently. Noah thought about it. Not long, but seriously. Then he walked to the cabinet, took out 3 plates, and placed them on the table. One for Rachel, one for himself, one beside the stool. Gabriel stood very still. Noah pointed at him. "You wash them all if you leave before dessert tonight." Gabriel's voice was rough. "Fair. And if Miss Isabella sends a letter, I will tell you before I answer." Noah nodded. Then, after a pause, added, "You can sit." Gabriel sat. Rachel watched her son climb into his chair. Watch Gabriel remain on the stool. Watch Martha turn away too quickly for someone not emotional. The family was not fixed. Broken things did not become whole because the person who broke them finally learned to be careful. But something had changed. The plate was no longer a shrine to absence. The chair was no longer a storage place for disappointment. The child was no longer forced to guess whether love meant waiting. And Rachel Bennett was no longer the woman who kept the home warm for a man protecting everyone except the people who needed him most. She sat down at the table. Gabriel waited until she lifted her fork before touching his. Noah began talking about the essay he had revised at Briar Lake. "My family," he read from the page, "is my mother, who remembers everything. Martha, who knows everything. My father, who was gone many times. He is here now. I am still watching." Gabriel closed his eyes. Rachel reached for her tea. Martha made a sound that was definitely crying and threatened anyone who looked at her. Noah looked up. "Is that good?" Rachel smiled. "Yes," she said. "That is honest." Gabriel opened his eyes. His voice was barely steady. "It is very good." Noah nodded, satisfied, and returned to his breakfast. Outside, the palace woke. Council bells rang. Messengers moved. Somewhere beyond the northern roads, Isabella Moore would continue her life without being the center of Gabriel's choices. Inside the family room, 3 plates rested on the table because a child had placed them there. Not because Gabriel demanded a seat. Not because Rachel softened the past. Because that morning, trust had been given one meal at a time. And Alpha King Gabriel Whitaker finally understood that protecting a family did not mean standing dramatically between them and danger. Sometimes it meant staying through breakfast, washing the plate, answering the letter honestly, letting the child decide the distance, and never again mistaking the people waiting at home for people who could not break.